this survival week, for some of the known names, the survival's still looking pretty dicey. Welcome to BGMI Master Series Season 3, powered by Garnier Men, where I'm going to be hosting Castronecro, and John alongside with me on the panel will be Shai Shanu once again. And as I mentioned, for some of the known names, the survival's still looking pretty dicey, and one of those names is also Entity.
I mean, that's the whole point about it. Yes, it's been looking a bit more dicey, and again, since you mentioned about Entity, we haven't really seen them on the first page itself in the top 10. They have been struggling a little bit, to be very honest, specifically in closing out those 3v1s or 4v2s, and we've seen this is the team that has basically been scummed to those clutches.
Yeah, I mean, especially as you mentioned, they have been struggling in those 3v2s and also those 4v2s as well sometimes, and that's been the main sign of concern for the side of Entity, right? Yes, a roster change is completely understandable. Maybe still the new players in that lineup, they're still getting adjusted to Somraj IGLing. What do you think?
I think so they'd be able to adjust to it as well because it takes a bit more time. He's a very experienced player. We've known about it. They've also lifted a big trophy too. We still remember that. And that was one of the main surprise factor for all of us because we never really thought that Pukar and Gamla Boy would eventually split up from the entire main Entity lineup as well. So that was a big shock for all of us. But even after that, I think so the addition of Aquanox has actually made a big difference as well, right? Because he's been putting up some amazing numbers.
Hands down. I mean, Aquanox is one of the best assaulters, right, in the entire region. So it makes a lot of sense why Aquanox's addition has put on so many big numbers for the side of this teams. And moving on forward towards Carpium's conversation too. In the opening week, Carpium wasn't able to perform a lot. And knowing the fact that Carpium wasn't formed that long ago, we raised a lot of those questions. Is Carpium even capable of standing their own ground in this tournament? But then moving on forward towards the league stage, Carpium has shocked all of us. Right now, sitting on the hashtag 2 spot in the overall standings. Carpium is doing really good. While you move on forward and look at Entity themselves, they're currently sitting on 12th spot in the overall standings. Now, that's a big dip right there.
Absolutely. One of the main reason for that is, again, because of the fact how they have not yet been utilizing the power play that much, even though Aqua has 11 finishes.
I mean, look at this. Raiden, Aquanox, two of the best assaulters in this entire country, right? With Raiden getting 6 finishes, you've got Aquanox with 11 finishes. Makes a lot of sense. Aquanox, this man packs a lot more punch, and he's also got so much more experience to back himself up. And then you move on forward towards the IGL, Somraj himself, and then you've also got another man. That's going to be Troy. Still remember, Troy makes a major difference in this lineup. I saw Entity in the official tournament in the past where Troy wasn't really playing, and that's why Entity was struggling throughout the entire tournament. As soon as Troy made the comeback, Entity was doing really good.
I mean, maybe that is one of the main reasons why we're still seeing Entity on that 12th spot, right? Because, again, one, they haven't really shown up a lot in power play. If I'm not wrong, they only have just got a couple of points extra for that power play. But apart from that, yes, the moment when Troy steps up, the moment when Raiden also starts to hit his shots, I think so it's going to take some pressure off of the 6-finger prodigy.
Yeah, I mean, Aquanox and his unique playstyle, right? The way he holds his phone, it's just something that I can never replicate. I tried my best to try and replicate the way he holds his phone while he's playing the game, but it just never works out for me, man. I'm just a normal 3-finger claw player myself. But yeah, moving forward with the conversation now, let's move on and talk about Carpium. Pukar and Gamla Boy. A lot of fingers were raised after PGIs, after the official tournament, and now they've made their own team, Carpium, and look at them, skyrocketing towards the top.
True, but that's the whole point. I really want to see how it's going to move forward from their side too.
Exactly.
बीजीएमआई की जनता ना थोड़ी इमोशनल है लाइनअप्स को लेके, तो लाइनअप में जब चेंजेस होते हैं तो उनको बुरा लगता है. बट यार स्पोर्ट्स प्लेयर के जर्नी में मतलब चेंजेस तो ज़रूरी होते हैं, एंड कुछ चीज़ें जमती नहीं है, परफॉर्मेंस नहीं आता तो चेंज करना पड़ता है. सो लाइफ का पार्ट ही है. अभी हमने नई लाइनअप बनाई है, सोमराज के साथ बनाई है, एंड सब भाई है. हम बस प्रॉब्लम्स को देखते हैं एंड सॉल्यूशन निकालते हैं उस चीज़ का, एंड ओवरकम करते हैं. एंड बीजीएमआई सीजन 3 हम अच्छे नोट पे एंड करेंगे होपफुली.
Aquanox has always been in one of those puzzles that has always shifted from team to team. And this man is not able to find himself in that perfect spot. Still remember back when this man used to play in TSM itself, he used to play really good. But then later on, the changes came through, the entire TSM fell apart. And now the team, once they once again try to reunite, it just never worked out. That's why the entire lineup once again scattered across. Now Aquanox is over here playing at Entity. And so far, I'm not going to lie, it's not working out that well. Aquanox individually, the man's able to perform. The players individually, they're able to perform, but at the end of the day, it's a team game.
Yes, that's true, and that's one of the main reasons why we are being very surprised as well with the performance of Carpium, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone's been questioning them. Newly formed team, struggling for the early 3 days. They're like, yeah, you can keep your questions to yourself. We're just gonna outfrag everyone. We're gonna make sure we catch all of those people in the power play itself. And look at Max.
Yeah.
What?
17 finishes. Monstrous performance from the side of Max Payne. And then you've got, he's only played 9 matches so far. His entire team's only played 9 matches so far. And with those 9 matches, he's managed to acquire 17 finishes. Now that's just astonishing. Move on forward and look at Gamla Boy's finishes too. 15 on the board. While you'd really expect these type of numbers from the side of Fierce, because he was the best fragging player in Revenant in the past, and now as he moved on forward towards Carpium, Fierce maybe is having a little bit of those issues gelling in, but in general, they as a team are doing really good, so that's all that matters.
Yes, I remember as well, Max, when he was playing under the banner of OR Esports back in the BGMS Season 2 as well. Yeah, he was performing really, really good, but this time he's just playing like a different beast. Maybe it's just because of the fact that Puka's IGLing is kind of suiting his playstyle as well, and the types of clutches that Gamla Boy has shown us time after time. That's one of the main reasons why this team, even though lose their players early sometimes because they've got the drop clash with WSB in Wrangle on Pochinki, still managed to come out on top time after time again.
One thing is for sure, Gamla Boy and Max himself, they have stepped up by a mile. In general, the entire Carpium, they've just astonished us in this Season 3.
Yes.
And now all you're left craving with is some more better performance from the side of Carpium. Still, the podium finish is in the hand of Vista Esports. They're currently sitting at the top. And to snatch that away from them will take a lot more efforts, that's for sure. Because Vista Esports, they're playing every single step flawlessly. They're always getting those consistent games in the hands, but even Carpium is also doing so.
That consistency is what you've been talking about, right? Because Vashista had a banger of a game, if we remember that double bounty. But even if you look at Carpium, that's not something they have achieved, yet they're only 10 points behind. So you know that if they manage to do that even once, they'd be able to quickly skyrocket and cover up that distance.
Exactly my point, right? Carpium, every single game they've played, they've always been there in the top 5. They somehow do find their way in the final few moments, and that's just the most impressive stuff. A while ago, you also saw the highlight of fight inside of the Pochinki, where Gamla Boy was the only man left over. And in that game, too, he still managed to secure the 4th spot for his team. So that's just super impressive.
I am really excited to see how it's eventually going to move forward for the side of Carpium, because yes, they've packed that power and they've packed that consistency.
And once again, we've got a little bit of an announcement to make for you guys, the Impact player. On the weekends, the IGL will draw one random player from his team to be the Impact player, and each finish the Impact player gets will be counted as 2 points. Imagine how many possibilities can happen, and I'm pretty sure you are here to break it down.
Absolutely true, because imagine if your Impact player is the one who's actually catching those frags in the power play itself. So that's basically 2 times 2. It's 4 times every single finish. So you get 1 player, you get 4 points. And imagine. So here's the possibility I always want to put out, and I wanted to talk about since day 1. But hey, surprises, they're meant to be opened on the perfect time. If the Impact player catches the entire team that has a bounty on its head. Imagine how many points that's going to give you, man. It's mind-blowing stuff. If I'm not wrong, we calculated it's going to give you somewhere around 24 to 26 points.
Yeah, I mean, if they take him down in power play, they've also got the Impact player taking him down, and they've also got the bounty top of their head. So one single squad wipe can actually grant you 26 points. That's massive. Think about it. So many points on the board for you and your team. So Impact player is definitely going to be game-changing. If a team's not doing too good, if they're all the way at the bottom in the overall standing, and imagine if the Impact player pops off. For example, Entity themselves. If Aquanaut pops off and he's the Impact player, then Entity will instantly make a big leap in the top 4, maybe.
I love the fact how you mentioned that as well. But at the same time, you know, I really like the idea as well, because I still remember Jonathan had a banger of a day yesterday, and he had 9 frags. Imagine if he becomes the Impact player. That's going to be 18 points already and leaping up in that leaderboard. That is important factor that teams will have to consider during the weekend.
And IGLs will, of course, choose that one best performing player from their team, right? He cannot just try to go for the random player. He will at least try to make sure that he's choosing that one best performing player for his team. For example, for Carpium, Gamla Boy has been doing really good. Even Fierce, so far, he's been able to pop off, but we know what Fierce is capable of, right? Even Max Payne can be a really good choice. Even for Vista Esports, there's so many better players that that they can go for. Shadow himself as an IGL, he's been doing really good for Vista. And I think so the main reason why Vista is on the forefront is because every single player is performing equally well.
Absolutely, and I always love the fact how they go in for those good rotations as well. They know where the power positions are. They know how they need to move around the circle to try and avoid the unnecessary fights and only take the ones that they are doomed to take, just like how we saw them face off against Carnival Gaming as well. Yet they came out on top. Now those are the kind of maneuvers that you really do not expect Vista to make, but they are making. It seems like the experience that Apollo is also bringing on the table is working phenomenally for their side.
Once again, if the start is good, the end will be good. There's so much more to talk about and discuss about, but for now it's time for us to toss to a short break.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. A ride with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. On a ride we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C. Deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's 100 ways that I could make you look.
Wow.
Make you look. Make you look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new season of Daily BGMI action. This time with even more competition. This time with even more comedy. With a lot more jaw-dropping moments. And also a few that many would want to forget. And for the first time ever, enjoy BGMI Master Series with Android. Welcome back to the biggest ever BGMI Carnival on national TV.
Day 3 of the Android BGMI Master Series Season 3, powered by Garnier Men, you can say was also the day of comebacks, because some of the teams on the latter half of the board decided to perform really good. Team Forever and the Apes, they had a fantastic day.
Absolutely. Beginning their day on such a great note is exactly what they were looking forward to. But for some big names, it was a very big disappointment. For example, Team X-Spark as well as Mogo, who still failed to find some value. But Godlike is a team that really stepped up their game.
Yeah, off the rip, some of the big names, they hit the deck instantly, but then teams like Mogo Esports was still looking forward to fight back. Mogo Esports took a head-on fight against the players of Godlike, where they had the advantage, but Jonathan, striking 2 players down, flipped the entire script in the favor of Godlike. Even Entity pounced on top of the opportunity, striking down the players of God's Reign. But then Global Esports, they tried to take the advantage against Team Forever in the final few moments. But Team Forever, with the better cover and the better positioning, they were the one to come out on top and claim that victory.
And following the footsteps of Team Forever is exactly what Orangutans almost did on the next game of Erangel, but not before Gamla Boy making an insane clutch to save his team and get early 8 points against the members of WSB, who went to drop Clash and Pochinki.
Yeah, a 1v1 in the end with the HP disadvantage, and Gamla Boy, he connects that crucial shotgun shot to the face. Then later on, Team Timulus, they crashed against their foes, where Team Timulus sort of disappointed, but at the same time, they were the one to come out on top, so you can't say the disappointment was nullified. God's Reign as well later on, they started to strike down a few teams where 8-Bit, they were caught in that trap. But Godlike, they were on the path for vengeance. They were looking for redemption. Where Team Z, they failed to perform that well because Team Z was caught off guard by the players of Aiku Soul, and they slowly and steadily, systematically dismantled the entirety of Team Z. In the final few moments, OG clearly had the advantage, and they secured the game too.
I mean,
जिंदगी में कुछ भी करना लेकिन प्रिडिक्टेबल कभी नहीं होना एंड लीग वीक 1 सर्वाइवर सीरीज में कुछ ऐसा ही देखने को मिल रहा है क्योंकि टीम्स को सर्वाइव करने में दिक्कत हो रही है। बॉस मेरे साथ जब भी मामला टेंस होता है, I've got my friend who's always tension free. I've got Crack in the house. स्वागत है आपका Android BGMS Season 3 powered by Garnier Men. अब आप बोल सकते हैं hello to everyone.
Hello everyone. स्वागत है एक और बार.
Ladies and gentlemen, हमने कल देखा The Resurgence of Jonathan, लेकिन मन्नू सारे जो व्यूअर्स हैं, सारे जो फैंस हैं इस गेम के, उनके जहन पे एक सवाल है कि क्या हम जॉनथन को इस फॉर्म को बरकरार रखते हुए देख रहे हैं एंड इज ही गोइंग टू टेक टीम गॉडलाइक इनटू द टॉप 4?
पूरे देश की आवाम चाहती तो यही है कि वो परफॉर्मेंस कंटिन्यू रहे, बिकॉज कंपेयर करो ओपनिंग वीक से देन परफॉर्मेंस का जो ग्राफ है ऊपर बढ़ा है, और एक बार मोमेंटम आ जाए गॉडलाइक जैसी टीम के पास तो परफॉर्मेंस रुकती नहीं है।
अब देखो ये जो 20 टीमें यहाँ पे हैं इस लीग वीक का हिस्सा, We've seen it man, ओपनिंग वीकेंड पे भी देखा जो कुछ नए एडिशंस हुए हैं, पावर प्ले, द बाउंटी सिस्टम, उसको लेके सारी टीम्स जो उनका गेम प्ले बदल गया है। अब एक हलचल जो है वो इन टीम्स के बीच में है विद द न्यू रूल दैट वी आर गोइंग टू इंट्रोड्यूस वेरी सून ऑन द वीकेंड व्हिच इज द इंपैक्ट प्लेयर रूल। भाई ये है क्या?
ये होने वाला है इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर का रूल, और बहुत ही ज़्यादा एक्सटेंसिव एंड कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है ये। अभी सोच के देखिए, आईजीएल साहब एक विड्रॉ करेंगे रैंडम पूरी टीम में से, एक प्लेयर को वो स्पेशल पावर्स मिलेंगी, वो एक फिनिश एक जो निकालेंगे उसके 2 पॉइंट्स मिलेंगे, बट गेस व्हाट, अगर वो ही फिनिश पावर प्ले में हुई तो 4 पॉइंट्स हैं।
बॉस एनीथिंग कैन हैपन। नाउ ही इज ऑब्वियसली माय वेरी गुड फ्रेंड, लेकिन दोस्ती में कभी कोई दरार आ जाती है। समटाइम्स यू वांट टू प्रूव अ पॉइंट टू योर फ्रेंड, और वही देखने को मिल रहा है व्हेन वी टॉक ऑफ एंटिटी एंड कार्पियम। सो आईजीएल्स को बुलाते हैं सोमराज एंड पुकार। बॉयज जॉइन अस हियर, यहाँ आ जाते हैं। हाउ आर यू? सबसे पहले तो तुम दोनों बहुत अच्छे दोस्त हो, वी नो इट, लेकिन तुम दोनों ये जो खिलवाड़ कर रहे हो ना दोस्ती के साथ, एंड दिस इज नॉट हैपनिंग फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम, दिस इज हैपनिंग फॉर द सेकंड टाइम. ये आई मीन डू यू जस्ट वांट टू टेस्ट ईच अदर या मजे के लिए कर रहे हो?
नहीं, पिछली बार तो थोड़ा ऐसे ही था, पर इस बार थोड़ा सीरियस है. और अभी तो हम लोग अलग हो चुके हैं और अभी देखते हैं कौन बेटर करता है.
वो डू यू गाइस टॉक टू ईच अदर स्टिल या वो भी बंद है आजकल?
नहीं, बातें तो होती है. हम लोग कल बहुत अच्छे बाहर भी गए थे एक साथ, तो ऐसा कुछ दोस्ती के अंदर कुछ नहीं है, पर इन गेम हम लोग अब अलग हो चुके हैं.
पुकार ने बोला सीरियस हो चुका है, क्या कहोगे सॉम?
सीरियस तो हम स्टार्टिंग से ही थे. गोल्स बहुत सारे अचीव करने तो सीरियस तो होना पड़ता है किसी को.
ओके,
सॉम के आंसर्स
देखिए, सीडी की बात करते हैं. जब ओपनिंग वीकेंड हमने देखा, यू गाइस वर स्ट्रगलिंग. ऐसा लगा कि आई यू गोइंग टू मेक इट टू द लीग वीक, लेकिन अब जब हम लीग वीक में तुम्हारी परफॉर्मेंस दे रहे हैं, मैन यू शूटिंग फॉर द स्टार्स. सो ये जो टर्न अराउंड आया है, उसका क्रेडिट किसको देना चाहते हो?
देखो, स्ट्रैटेजी हमारी स्टार्टिंग से सेम है, हम अभी भी सेम खेल रहे हैं. बस स्टार्टिंग में ऐसा हुआ, एक दिन हमारा ख़राब गया, सेकेंड डे हमने कम बैक किया. बाकी हम लोग सेम स्ट्रैटेजी पे स्टार्टिंग से स्टिक कर रहे हैं. तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि हमने गेम चेंज किया तभी हमारा परफॉर्मेंस आया. हम लोग स्टार्टिंग से सेम प्लान के साथ आए थे और सेम प्लान के साथ ही कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं.
ऑलराइट,
सॉम, आई वांट टू आस्क, कम क्लोज. क्यों शाय हो ना, क्यों शर्माना?
गले लगना है क्या?
व्हाई नॉट
मैं
ब्रदर्स?
तो बोल रहा हूँ, दोस्त हो, ये प्रूव भी कर देते हैं एक दूसरे के, एक बार गले लग जाओ, सो दैट जो भी रूमर्स चल रहे हैं ना, उसको वी कैन पुट इट टू रेस्ट.
देखो, दोस्ती अलग जगह होती है और प्रोफेशनलिज्म अलग जगह होती है.
ओके,
तो आउटसाइड द गेम तो हम लोग बहुत अच्छे दोस्त थे. कल पुकार का बर्थडे था, हम लोग सेलिब्रेट किए साथ में, तो दोस्ती तो है ही हमारी.
गाइस सोशल पे देख लेना, शायद ये दोनों एक स्टोरी डाल दें साथ में और वो रूमर्स जो हैं वो क्लियर हो जाएंगे. बट राइट नाउ इन दोनों पे भी निगाहें होंगी. बाकी सारी टीम्स आज जो 2 मैचेस खेलने वाले हैं, आईज विल बी ऑन देम. लेट्स फाइंड आउट व्हाट द बॉयज थिंक इन द स्टूडियो.
I mean, look, man, I don't really care what they say, but one thing is for sure, the stark difference is clearly visible. Carpium is doing much more better compared to Entity, while Somraj feels like he's still not able to find that groove.
That's one of the main reasons, right? Pukar, he is basically having constant drop collisions on the map of an angle. So even if he does not want to utilize the power play, his team technically has to. While Entity on the other end, they're enjoying the early game, right? Where they don't really do that much. They're playing safe, and once the stage 2 hits, stage 3, then they start to make their move and try to take some points.
I mean, the separation between Entity and Carpium, the separation between Pukar and Somraj, it's clearly like 2 brothers being separated from each other. That's why the thinking is the same. Both of them want the same drop location, but then Somraj is like, yes, I'm not going to give it up. The same thing is Pukar saying. So who's going to give it up for the first? That's going to be up to us to find out in the future. Before now, you've got the overall standings in front of us, right? On the second spot is Carpium, Vista Esports still leading the charge on the first. The top 4, as usual, they're going to be having the bounty atop their heads. But then as you move on, you flip the table and you see Entity Gaming on that 12th spot, WSP on the 11th, IQ Soul, the fan favorite team on the latter half of the board. Even Godlike has now made it to the first half.
That is true. Godlike has had a very good day yesterday as well. Jonathan's comeback as well, doing a phenomenal job, catching those 9 finishes. I mean, that was absolutely insane, to be honest. And that clutch is where everything began in Miramar, where he just turned almost 180 to take down the second player of Mogo. I mean, as much as we know that Mogo should have went in for a bigger flank, we know that it was, again, Jonathan's insane skills that eventually got them the clutch.
Okay, look, all of that is fine. I understand you are going with Jonathan a lot, but still, it's a team game, man. You also got to give it to Admino, because that was also the man who was conveying the callouts to Jonathan. It's a team game. Even Punk stepping in has clearly changed so much for Godlike. So, in general, the entire team of Godlike now seems like a well-oiled machine, and all it takes is that momentum. Right now, they've found themselves that sweet tuning. If they keep on moving up with that same momentum, then maybe Godlike can perform even better. Maybe we can see them being in one of those bounty teams as well. Jonathan on the screen, the man seems happy. He knows his performance is there on the board. Yesterday he wasn't really feeling too good. Hopefully he's doing okay now.
Absolutely. I mean, we all have been waiting for his performance like that since BGMS Season 2, if I'm not wrong, because even then, Godlike, they had to take that early exit off from the season itself. They could not make it to the finals. Now, that was a big blow to every Godlike fan out there. Even if I'm not wrong, the current Carnival roster that was sold, they also had to move backwards. But again, I really want to see how this resurgence gonna move like.
Exactly. Well, you know what? There's a lot more to talk about, but after this short video.
सीजन 1 आप क्या बोलते हो उसको, रनर अप ठीक है, आप MVP भी बने, बड़ी उम्मीदें थी लोगों को ना, एक वो मिला था कि भाई गॉड लाइक शायद वापस आ गई है। सीजन 2 आया मास्टर सीरीज का, क्या हुआ था उसमें? अभी तक मुझे कोई जवाब नहीं मिला है, क्या हुआ था सीजन 2 में?
सीजन 2 तो ऐसा हो गया था कि फूड पॉइजनिंग ऐसा कुछ हो गया था, तो मैं एडमिट हो गया था, वो खेल नहीं पाया था मैं। एंड अभी सीजन 3
में क्या एक्सपेक्ट करें आपसे? आप अभी लाइनअप पे कॉन्फिडेंस है?
कॉन्फिडेंस तो स्टार्टिंग से था, चाहे जो भी लाइनअप है, बट वही ना बोलते कि कुछ चीज़ें चलती नहीं है, बट कोई ना, चलेंगे, घिसेंगे, टाइम आएगा, उठा लेंगे ट्रॉफी, और क्या।
अभी पर्सनली जॉनथन अपने आप पे कितना कॉन्फिडेंस है कि ये जो होता है ना कि जरा 1v1 मैं ले सकता हूँ, जॉनी हूँ मैं भाई, तो क्या वो जॉनी 10 on 10 है या अभी कम हो रहा है?
लाइक अभी कैसा हो गया पता है गेम, अभी 1v1 वाला गेम नहीं हुआ है, अभी प्रॉपर टीम गेम है। लाइक इन शॉर्ट 1v1 अगर आप जाओगे तो मरना ही मरना है, आपको ट्रेड गेम पे ही खेलना है अभी।
I mean, makes a lot of sense, right? You cannot just directly go for a 1v1, especially in the shotgun meta. The man who's holding the angle will always have the advantage, and this is the prime example of that. Jonathan holding the angle against both of the players of Team Mogo clearly gave a major advantage to the entire Godlike team, and then even Albino stepping up, striking down another player, just helped contribute it to that clutch. Raven Esports, they collided against Godlike as well in this entire city, and Godlike, they just easily smooth past him.
Absolutely, and hearing all of that, it was Soul as well who wanted to jump into that conundrum, but eventually ended up on a player loss, and then Godlike even made a good exit out of that area. I mean, let's be honest, if there's one good circle that falls onto the members of Godlike, we might potentially see them claiming that chicken dinner as well, and we really hope that they do, because again, in and under Punk's IGLing, the performance of Z-God as well as Admino has shot up.
Exactly. The schedule of today stays on the screen. A, B, C, and E will be the first groups to kick things off in the map of Erangel. Then later on, we're going to move on towards the map of Miramar. Once again, classic, nothing really taken out of the way. But Group D is going to be sitting it out in the first game itself. That means Team X-Spark, Godsreen, even OG, and then you've also got Team Timilas not playing in the first game. So maybe they can sit back, relax, and watch and try and experience the intensity of the lobby just from the back seats.
True, but the one who's going to be experiencing that entire intensity is definitely going to be Soul Forever Vashishta Carpium, who will eventually play that first one. But here's the thing, right? Vashishta Carpium, both are the teams that technically carry a bounty on their head and are first and second. So you already know they'll only be available for one game here.
Exactly. And speaking of the game, all these players are playing on a Samsung Galaxy S20 for Android device, and I'm pretty sure they're having a smooth experience. Let's toss to a short break.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna leave. Now you hear me roll like raw in my beastly mode now. Wow. Wicked unleashed. That's wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked.
TVS Raider, unleash your wicked.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India by Garnier Men.
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's 100 ways that I could make you look.
Wow.
Make you look. Make you look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
Shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
そんな場所だ。全部壊してみっか。俺は塔のてっぺんに登るんだ。
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C. Deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
Whoa, just feast your eyes on this beast of a machine. TVS Raider Iron Man Edition doesn't just look cool, but gives ultimate superhero vibe. Super wicked.
If you're a fan of Iron Man, you really can't miss this one. I mean, I surely am. I know you like Black Panther more, but Iron Man divs. Either ways, there's one team that's definitely diffing everyone else out in this entire lobby, and that definitely is going to be the team Vista that we've been talking about time after time.
Yeah, I mean, Vista Esports at the top of the board, right? Just not giving up that spot anymore. And it's also getting quite tough to hunt down a team like Vista Esports. They're like flies in the air. It's really tough to snatch them away and get rid of them.
This is the only team out here whose bounty has not yet been claimed. I really thought that yesterday the bounty hunter God's Reign were able to finally claim their bounty, but that did not happen. The last member of Vista did fell to the blue. So therefore denying that bounty as well. Now these are the situations where you, at one point, it's funny to see, but at the other side of the spectrum, you feel bad for God's Reign, man.
Yeah.
They've been trying for that bounty for 3 days now.
Time and time. Now, yesterday it was Vista Esports. Day before yesterday it was the players of Global Esports. This just keeps on happening to the players of us, to the players, man. And God's Reign, for some reason, they're just not giving up as well. They keep on going for those bounty points. We really got to give it to the players of God's Reign, right? Once again, they're going to be the one here to sit out today. So first game is not going to be played for the side of God's Reign. So one thing is for sure, at least God's Reign won't be the bounty hunter anymore. Someone else needs to take that charge and move up forward. For teams like Aiku's Soul, this bounty can definitely be a saving grace. If they want to make their comeback in the overall standings, go and hunt down the bounty teams. But yesterday, Salme, he choked one of those scenarios, nading himself in a fight.
That's a big thing that you have already mentioned, because yeah, that was one of the main reasons why Soul was brought down to just 2 months, duo remaining towards the end. And that's when they took fight with Team Z, where, if I'm not wrong, Ronnie was the one who eventually clutched it up. But I mean, it's fine. It's one day. Always happens. There's a new day. There's a new opportunity for them.
And talk about the new opportunity. The next game of Wrangle is going to be on the screen. As the plane flight path starts all the way from Quarry towards Milton Power, this plane flight path is tilted heavily down south. If the teams want to move in towards the Asna Poliana, then it's a tough stretch. Luckily enough, X-Park is not playing this game, so that's a really good thing for them. Before teams like Global Esports, it will be a hell of a stretch. Global Esports, they like to move in towards Severny, and I'm not sure where they're going to be dropping for the pit stop. But if there is a pit stop collision, then for Global Esports, it will be a date with destiny because they rarely lose the early game fights.
Yeah, we've known them for being those early aggressors as well, the ones who like to take those early skirmishes. So it could eventually be a good thing. Plus, they don't carry the bounty on their heads anymore, so they might as well try to go for some of the bounty hunting themselves. But yeah, unfortunately for the bounty hunter gods in themselves, 3 of the bounty teams are in this group right now, Group C that we always talk about. That's Team Forever, Vashishta, Carpium. In their own group, they only have Team Tamilas.
Mogo Esports dropping towards Primorx, and even Raven Esports is right next to him. This is a collision that might just be coming through.
Yeah, I mean, we normally see 8-bit drop in towards the Primorsk area, but yes, as you mentioned, it's going to be Raven out here as well, along with 8-bit, who basically gone in for a bit more widespread as Mogo. I think so they are going to jump back to their same military base area. For a second, I did think that they might go for an early collision out there.
For a moment, I thought, Mogo Esports is going to be dropping atop of the players of Raven, but then no, they moved up towards the military base. So I guess just a little bit of prank being pulled out by the players. Because they shifted their course towards that area. So yeah, I mean, I thought they might just be gliding to that spot, but once again, moving down south. Mogo Esports, slide. But for now, Milta is going to be packed with a lot of foes. Look at that, Revenant right next to one of those.
I mean, even Carpium is out here in Milta this time around. Normally we see them going in for the early fight against WSB, but now Carpium is carrying a bounty on their head. So they've this time decided not to jump in over towards Pochinki, but instead land in over towards Milta, where you already have Revenant, as you mentioned. But
Once
Carnival...
again, hold on. Keep this thing in mind. Godlike as well is right next to Revenant Esports. If a fight breaks out between the players of Carpium and Revenant, Godlike will definitely go for the third party. And Carnival up against the players of Global Esports and Carnival Gaming. Do they have suitable weaponry to go for this fight? Global Esports, one thing is for sure, they will have the suitable weaponry. But Carnival Gaming just driving around, hoping for the players to at least get caught out in the open. The first engagement happens, and Goblin is going to be the first man to come out on top. He finds the opener. The second man's quite exposed as well. Even Ninja Boy hits the deck. And just like that, Carnival Gaming, they find themselves in the advantageous shoes. For Global Esports, it's a really bad start. Before Carnival Gaming, a lifeline gifted.
A team that you always talk about likes to take it slow, pace down, and then probably move up, waiting for the circles. Finally finding an early opening as well and winning out in that engagement. That's a big thing because now it's only Arcelin as well as Slug who will eventually try to play it safe and survive.
Now keep this thing in mind, CG, they know Global Esports, they like to move up north towards Severny. Will CG go for the chase? Some of the players are sitting inside of the vehicle, and they are moving up north as well, and I think so. Yes, CG is going to follow that trail. They won those leftover 2 points. That's going to give them 8 points in total. Right now, CG, they have definitely tasted the blood, and they want to execute the entirety of Global Esports. Arcelin, Slug, Ninja Boy, Beast, these 4 players are really capable of converting the early game fight, but this time they failed. And over here, what do we see? Another fight erupting on the screens. Entity, they're the one to strike down the foe.
Absolutely. Picking off first player of Vista Esports as well, giving them a big blow in the early game. Now, remember, I was talking about this team that Entity does not play fast in the power play, but this is the first time in their first few points when they've decided to jump into that and take the people down.
Entity, they can go for the bounty if they want, but they're still not doing so. Team Z Scout OP all by himself, isolated in this compound. He does find the first knock, or maybe he could have found it, but Max Payne's still alive. On his feet, barely on a sliver of HP, he manages to get rid of Scout. And just like that, Team Z, they start off once again in a really bad fashion.
Unfortunate for them because this time the foes were Carpium. Normally you do not see this team out here down in this area. Normally they're up in the Pochinki. But wait a second, you know the chase that we were talking about early on? Between the members of GE and Carnival Gaming? Carnival have finally made their stop towards Savani, and that's where the rest of the GE players are as well.
Oh my god, Carpium, they might just start hunting down the players of Team Z, right? This is exactly what they want. They know Team Z, they're quite hurt at this point in time. Kylo missing all the shots, and even his teammates, they're not even to convert any of the knocks here. And somehow the players are able to get away with murder. Carpium, they make an easy escape from that spot. And now Global Esports once again getting hunted down by CG. As expected, the fight comes through. CG, they really want to take down the leftover players of Global Esports. Slug as well hits the deck. And now it's down to just that one last man from Global. Can he make anything happen?
That was a very good nade coming in from his power as well. And as you mentioned, just the last one man remaining. Carnival Gaming really want to go in for this hunt, want to take down Arcelin. As he again moves as well. I think so he's basically given out the footsteps. So possibly either Goblin or his power should have heard it.
Oh, there we go.
Easiest finish of Neo's entire career, if you'd say.
An easy 8 points in the pocket. Carnival Gaming, they sniff out the players of Global Esports. As soon as you get the confirmation, you know which team you're hunting down. In Global Esports, they like to drop in towards Severny. We had a conversation about this. But now 8-Bit on the hunt against the winners of yesterday's game, which is Team Forever. They won the first game of yesterday, and now this time they're getting hunted down. Ash and Omega, the last two remaining players. Can they pull off a 2-on-4? 8-Bit, they're definitely feeling quite confident charging on forward against the players of Team Forever. Ash's position still uncompromised. Does Aditya know that Ash is right next to him?
It's going to be the main question out here. Aditya versus Ash. It's going to be Ash messing up. No, absolutely not. Catches the person on the last part of his HP. Needs to patch him up as well, but has got absolutely no first aid. He's going to use the adrenaline syringe out here, but it's going to be so difficult for him.
Ash taken down to a sliver of HP, but Juicy is able to find the conversion. So now the trade's going to be there. Ash taken down for now. Still the man advantage in the hands of 8-Bit, if you'd like to ask me. Mighty and Juicy up on the feet. Mac and Aditya taken down. The revival should be there, but the nade's being tossed to perfection. What a nade that was from the man, and he instantly gets the conversion. And just like that, Team Forever, they have been showcased. The gate was to the hell.
That is indeed true, but again, there's another fun engagement happening right now between Entity and Reckoning, and Godlike is out here for the third party as well. They really want some early finishes for themselves.
And the fight breaks out. Reckoning Esports is one of those teams that is really glad and eager to take these type of fights. But what just happened with Equinox? The man fell to his death, and the conversion was in the hands of Hunters. Reckoning Esports being gifted a free point, and Somraj just backs away from the fight now. What just happened with the players of Entity? It was definitely a big miscalculation.
They tried to take the fight against the members of Reckoning, and they found the first opener as well. I was watching it in the finish feed as they were being taken down, but again, Reckoning's answer back was absolutely maniac, but this is diabolical. Ronnie still surviving out here, and WSB want to jump into the action.
So many fights breaking off the bit. And now you've got God's Reign, or at least Gods from the side of WSB, taking a fight against Aiku's Soul. Zeref pushes on up, and Aiku's Soul now, they might just be showcased the gateways to the lobby. They will be sent back, that's for sure. Man's up close and personal, and Gods, he's going to be the one to put the final nail in the coffin.
And that too, getting 3 people from Soul. That is actually pretty impressive as well. The S12K working out so perfectly, but imagine as the victory might actually be short-lived as Raven decides to join into the action. And they also want some early 8 points.
Am I even surprised at this point, Raven Esports? I mean, they're of course the Ravens, and that's why they're always here to try and take the third parties in the hands. They wanted to get the finishing blow in the hand at WSB. They do hand out a couple of finishing blows to the players of Raven Esports, but Raven eventually, they find the last remaining foe, and they secure that elimination. WSB taken down as well. So many early game fights happening this time.
You always love to see all of this happen. Soul being early eliminated this time. Team Forever as well. Their bounty, if I'm not wrong, was claimed by the members of 8-Bit, giving them a good cushion, a good buffer. Vista Esports on the other side. They lost their early member, but now want to just play in smart, surviving. But oh my goodness. The entire engagement that's happening around the area of Mansion, so many teams so close to each other, seems like the fire has already burnt out, so everyone's going to be going in for the disengage.
Oh, there we go. Talk about some wicked action, and 8-Bit, they instantly bring it on the board. 8-Bit up against the players of Vista Esports, and Vista Esports, they're getting hunted down. Chase down Secret's gonna be the man in the front lines. And imagine it's a hunting party of 8-Bit, just chasing down that one single man, and even Secret hits the deck. And now Vista Esports just down to that one last man, Apollo. Even he gets strike down. Was that a bounty converted? That's my question. I think so. Vista Esports, they lost out on one of the players by Entity. So this was not a complete bounty.
It was a valiant effort, though. That's one thing we'd say. But here's this thing, right? Oh, Mogo finding a pick on Saeed as well. Team Z, they're having so many problems out there. In the blue is where Kyler was standing, but now on his knees. Cannot stand any longer in front of the spray down from Justin. Beautiful play from Mogo this time, making sure that they clear the entire deck and then move forward to try and cross the bridge where Revenant is camping.
Revenant Esports, classic shenanigans. Waiting for a team like Team Z to try and cross on forward, but this time it's going to be Mogo Esports heading their way.
Blaze.
And Revenant is right there across the bridge, just waiting for someone to step in their crosshair. Even TZ, Addy, you can see the man towards the gas station. If Addy's able to find one single easy knock, then maybe he will definitely try to go for the execution. But Addy unfortunately gives his position away. Tosses out a smoke to give him that extra bit of edge in the fight. But is that really going to give him the edge? That's my question. It's just helping the players of Mogo Esports close onto that distance, but still one of the man gets taken down. But Team Z in return, they have been wiped out from the game. Mogo Esports in the crosshairs of Revenant.
But this is basically the perfect opportunity for Revenant to try and pounce upon them, right? Because they can try, they then take down. It's basically a man advantage for them. That's the whole thing.
It is a man advantage, but still, it's the shock and meta, my friend. The script can be flipped at any moment. Revenant Esports is able to find that one single find through the smoke, but right now with a clear advantage, Revenant Esports, they just need to play the patience game. If they just waited out, Mogo Esports will slowly and steadily start to suffocate to death, because already a lot of those meds have been burnt out from Mogo Esports' arsenal.
True, but here's the thing. There's also 8-bit out here in the open who will eventually try to gatekeep all the other people. So I really want to see how things are eventually going to pan out in this situation, because as you've already mentioned, Mogo trying to go in for that action, trying to go in is definitely not something that we normally see, right? We see Mogo slow the pace down, we see them go to the good positions, but they this time want to take those fights and want to clear out all of those people.
Fighting in the blue means you're missing out on the prime spot in the zone, in the circle. And speaking of circle, you can circle to search on your Android devices. But yeah, Raven Esports, we saw them take a fight outside of the zone a while ago, but instantly they are being proactive, moving inside of the zone. Raven Esports knows they do not want to miss out on the spot in the top 4. That's why they're trying to keep up with the consistency. Constant points should be there on the points table. Mogo Esports, 3 players inside of that station, while one of the man is still in the outskirts. And Robin is the one to play. This time, the coach has stepped up for Mogo. Shogun's knocked out with that beautifully placed nade. But then, the second one's not able to follow up. Justin in the outskirts of that building, while the 2 of the players are still in. He's going for the revival on the fallen man. Justin gets spotted, and he gets taken down just like that. Revenant Esports slowly and steadily starting to close their grips around the necks of Mogo Esports. But what just happened? Flock, he's able to find a 2-piece, but then after that, Sensei's Molotov catches Flock himself.
But it's absolutely fine because they were able to wipe out the floor with Mogo. Oh my god. The way that this team was playing, absolutely insane. And if I'm not wrong, it was just a couple of players who were able to push out. But that's the whole point I was mentioning. 8-bit were also in the outskirts, who now want to try and pounce upon this opportunity to go in for the third party. I really thought that nade went into the room.
Oh, 8-bit from the outskirts over here with the third party. 8-bit is doing something that happened to them yesterday. And now 8-bit.
Lovely.
Yeah, another nade. That's going to get the confirmation, but Revenant Esports not that far behind, right? Even Matt gets snuffed out. Even Juicy's taken down for now. Look at Revenant Esports. So well spread out. One man is on the extreme right. One man is on the extreme left. And 8-bit, they're in the center. Pinned down. 8-bit, they came in with the advantage. But now it seems like they're the one in the disadvantage. They're the one in the deathlock.
It just seems to me that Flock, since again he's going to be bleeded out by the blue itself as well. Now it's down to no man's advantage whatsoever. The spread out was good for the initial phase, but then again, I kind of wanted to see them close in the gap as well to try and save the teammates who were basically being pounced upon by all of those nade parties. That's absolutely fine. Blaze, just a couple of more bullets he needed.
Yeah, should have been a knock. But one thing is for sure, the opponent was moving quite fearless. They did not even care about Blaze's position there. It's completely fine though. Revenue Esports, they still do somehow find both of the remaining players of 8-Bit, considering they were quite exposed. And yeah, 8-Bit taken down and dusted.
Huh?
8-Bit though, they still managed to get a lot of those points. 14 points in the books. That's not that bad of an outing.
Flock is the man you always could eventually rely on, but for now, not in this game. As he was taken down at safe as well with a 3K, a 3-piece. And in the meantime, during that entire scenario, Carpium were able to wipe the floor out of Raven. Only Hulk is remaining. And if I'm not wrong, it was one Blade who were able to take down the members, who wanted to probably take down the members of Carpium, but Carpium eventually moved out. Seems like they kind of want to go in for the fight as well outside the blue. Not something we normally see, or maybe they just want to go in for a big long rotation.
I mean, does it really matter? When you've got so many teams already eliminated from the game, you can directly just approach the zone. There's not going to be a lot of those teams just being the Guardian Angels, right? Revenue Esports is outside of the zone. At this point in time, a team like Carpium should know that that's what's happening. But Carpium is actually moving outside of the zone to take the fights. They're searching for fights. They're searching for foes. That's what Carpium is doing, because they know they've got the bounty on top of their head. If they move inside of the zone this early, it wouldn't be good for them. Instead, just being the Guardian Angels, trying to catch some of the teams that are trying to rotate in the zone, and one of those might just be Godlike walking into this trap. Carpium should instantly convert the call out, saying that there is one of the teams rotating right next to one, and Fierce is going to be the man to stop and maybe take a couple of shots here and there. Godlike's rotation is spotted, and Carpium now has the call out. They've got their number.
They can try and intercept the last man, possibly, because it's a 3-1 split coming in, and Z-God is the man who's trying to watch the back of this entire pack. So it's going to be important and crucial, and as you mentioned, it's Fierce who's basically dropped out of the vehicle, and now Z-God as well has got to leave it. We are seeing that engagement happen as we predicted.
I mean, specifically for Godlike, it's not going to pan that well if they do end up taking this fight. The fight almost came through, but I guess there are some also technical difficulties going on inside of the game. That's why maybe Carpium moved outside. Probably a rehost might just be coming through. But we're going to be back after this short break and give you guys the exact confirmation on what's going to happen.
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's 100 ways that I could make you look.
Wow.
Make you make you look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Arrive we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Carpium Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Carpium Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Carpium.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
To live your life the way you want. Compete like the toughest challenger. Dance like there's no tomorrow. Celebrate every second you are alive.
We're back once again after some short technical difficulties, but I'm pretty sure now they've been resolved. Yes, it is going to be a rehost. So also good news for some of the teams that got taken off the rip.
Yeah, the teams who were taken off early as well, facing some bit of problems out there. I mean, that's the thing. It basically, it seems like they're all going to be moved, just like how little Android out here was moved a bit as well, because they have another lifeline, another possibility to try and claim their bounties as well.
I mean, I guess really good news for teams like Global Esports, right?
True.
I mean, especially Global Esports getting taken down by CG like that. It was quite the unfortunate move, and we all had to talk about this, right? CG just straight up hunting down the players of Global Esports, claiming the power play points, getting 8 points off the rip to start things off with. For CG, that's really bad news, because CG, they're still struggling on the latter half of the board, and these 8 points could have been luck-changing.
It's not just about Carnival Gaming as well. I wanted to talk and touch upon the point of 8-bit too, because both of these teams are kind of sharing the similar fate down towards the bottom end of the entire leaderboard. And I mean, 10 to 12 points for 8-bit, 8 points for Carnival Gaming. All of those early points definitely are now not going to be there, so you have to basically redo every single thing. But at the same time, I think Superstar are going to be a bit more happy. I mean, they had to take an early exit out there. They were being hunted down as well, so they're going to have another lifeline to try and do something that they always love to do.
And not just them, even Team Z, right? Scout was caught off guard all by himself in that one single building. And for CG, as we mentioned,
सुनो मेरी बात, ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो सकता कि तुम हमें बोलोगे कि हमें स्लॉट क्यों मिलना चाहिए. मोस्टली सारे ऑफिशियल एंड सारे मेजर्स खेले हुए, सारे क्वालिफाइज भी करे, परफॉर्म करे हमने. ऐसे बहुत सारी टीम्स है जो शायद है ना फैन फेवरेट या फैन बेस या उनके चक्कर में स्लॉट मिलता है. हमें भी मिलता था, ठीक है, हमें अभी भी मिलेगा तो हम क्लेम कर लेंगे, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है उसकी बात. बट तुम बोलने वाले कोई कुछ नहीं होते हो, कितना भी कर लो, अगर करना है तो क्वालिफाई करके आ जाओ. सिंपल सी चीज है. मैनेजमेंट है और एंड उनके बीच में होता है स्लॉट का. हम नहीं डिसाइड करते, प्लेयर्स डिसाइड नहीं करते किसको जाना चाहिए किसको नहीं जाना चाहिए. तो that's it.
Of course, the man speaking quite the sharp words, CG, they have proved themselves time and time in the past. The same playing for has been there in the past. Yes, Omega is missing in this lineup. His IGLing has always kept the team in front side of the glory. But this time, CG is testing out the new waters. S-Power in the lineup is also the newer face. You've also got a man like Neo, Goblin as well as right there, and then add on Hector to the play as well. Even he brings in a bit of that firepower. CG right now is a powerhouse, but they're still not able to find that sweet spot. And once they do, trust me, CG will be hitting all sort of teams.
I think so. If this game would have concluded with the way, we would have said that maybe they found their sweet spot.
Hey, for now, it's time for us to toss to a short break, though.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna leave. Now you hear me roll like raw in my beastly mode. Now, wow. Wicked unleashed. Yes, wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked.
TVS Raider, unleash your wicked.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's 100 ways that I could make you look.
Wow.
Make you make you look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
Shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
そんな場所だ。全部壊してみっか。俺は塔のてっぺんに登るんだ。
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C. Deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
To live your life, don't live. Life has no rule books, but we can give you a stage.
We're back once again after this short commercial break, and yes, we're just moments away from moving it forward towards the first game of the day. I'm pretty sure a lot of the people in the chat are just waiting for the first game to start.
Yeah.
So many fan bases over here. Yes, X-Spark and even players like Godly, Godsreen, OG, they're not going to be stepping in the first game itself, including Team Tumulus, but you never know, man. Maybe the second game of the day, that's where these teams will start to strike back really good. Before teams like Global Esports, Entity, and even Mogo, this might just be the moment they were waiting for, especially looking at Entity Gaming and Mogo Esports. These two guys have been struggling too much.
I really want to see them step up as well right now in this situation because they've got 2 games today. So I think so. Yes, you've got a lifeline as well. It seems that they had a good of a start in the first one, but again because of the technical issues, we'll be rehosting that one. But I still feel that since they had a very good start, they should be able to carry it forward even more, a little bit at least, if not a lot.
I mean, talking about the start itself, I mean, no one else has had a better start than Vista Esports, right? So this team will always have the confidence at the top. But at this point in time, the focus should really be between the mid-pack and the end-pack, right? Especially for teams like Team Z, especially for teams like WSB, which is still currently sitting in the mid-pack. And we know what Team WSB has pulled off in the past. WSB, they've had that one nuclear performance, but then after that, it's been inconsistency hitting them over and over again.
I really feel in this situation that there's going to be, as you mentioned about WSB, a time where they'd be able to somehow move forward than the rest of the end pack because of the fact that they have been that powering house that we know them of, right? There have been situations where they've basically managed to get 25, 30, 35 point games as well in many situations. So I really feel they have got the capacity and the capability, but it just seems that they're right now currently not in the right mind, that's all.
But keep this thing in mind. This is also a wake-up call for Knuckle. If he does not perform well in this upcoming game, his first spot in the most wicked player will be taken away by someone else, maybe Max Payne. It won't be the man from the side of Team Timberless because Team Timberless or the Group D is just sitting it out. So I guess for the man who's right there on the second spot, he won't be having a chance to snatch that away in the upcoming game, but Max Payne definitely does. So if Knuckle does not perform well enough, his spot on the first spot will be taken away from the most wicked players.
I mean, if you're talking about stealing away the first spot, Gods also had a very solid chance, if I'm not wrong. He had 3 finishes right now when we were playing in the map of Erangel as well. So I thought that maybe this is the time when WSB will eventually shine. Yes, losing out on a couple of members was the situation, but again, if you're being pounced upon by a couple of teams, it is understandable. But they still were able to get out some early 4, early 8 points too, because it was all the way in the power play itself. But I like the idea that they're still going in for that aggressive approach, but they need a little bit of the footing.
Exactly. But for now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. Once again, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's 100 ways that I could make you look.
Wow.
Make you look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Arrive we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
Shave it.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
To live your life the way you want. Compete like the toughest challenger. Dance like there's no tomorrow. Celebrate every second you are alive. Life has no rule books, but we can give you a stage.
Just a few steps away from stepping into the first game of the day. After that rehost, definitely a lifeline was given to a lot of these teams, but now they also need to take that first game as an example and know exactly what not to do if you do get that same sort of a plane fly path. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, in the first game of the day, as the plane fly pad pops up on the screen, starting all the way from Severny towards Primorsk. This time the plane fly path is not going to be identical. Instead, it's quite different from the first one.
As you talk about that difference, the first thing that I probably will see is the sigh of relief from Global Esports, because yeah, they were not able to get that win against the members of Carnival Gaming early on, but this time around it's right over on top of Severny, so they can take the first early drop as well. But I can also see a couple of additional teams taking that early drop, specifically Godlike as well, since we are talking about it. Maybe they're going to go back towards the Georgia pool if they really want to, if they really like to, but for teams who want to end up in the military base, it's going to be a rough ride.
Godlike moving to a shooting range maybe, or maybe Zarky. I'm not sure what the plan of Godlike Esports is, but Godlike, one thing is for sure, they haven't really found themselves a proper home, right? In the past, they used to drop towards Yasna Poliana, Georgia Pole, or even School, but now Godlike, in the previous game, they dropped in towards Milta Power, so I'm not even sure what's going on in the heads of the players, but I guess it's just Punks pulling off the shenanigans, and Punk does not really want Godlike to be predictable. That's why they're just dropping all across the board. Right now, they've found themselves a bit of that pit stop, and they're just dropping in those individual compounds. I guess Godlike is still on that search for the power play points.
Probably could be possible as well, or maybe they just want to try and hunt down Team Forever this time around, since they are in the top 4. Maybe. And Team Forever always likes to drop around safe in these kind of plane fly paths, so normally they go around the Zarki area, but again, this time around over towards Pochinki is where we're going to see a WSB up against Carpium, the match made in heaven.
I guess Godlike is actually hunting down the players of Team Forever. Something they learned from the previous game, right? Team Forever dropping in towards Zarky, and Godlike, they know it's their time to claim the bounty. That's why they're moving in with the vehicles towards Zarky. And I don't think so the players of Team Forever, they've got any clue that Godlike is right next to him. But as you mentioned, a drop collision between the players of Carpium and WSB. For WSB, a chance to claim the bounty. For Carpium, a chance to maybe take or snatch away that first spot from Vista Esports, but there's also a drop collision in Yasna Poliana itself. Entity Gaming dropping right on top of the players of Vista Esports. So for Vista, it's now time to defend.
Oh, Somraj, my man has a UMP 45 in the hand and then a VSS, which you would really not want to use, but at the same time, yeah, I know you pointed it out, Raiden has been taken off early. Now that's a big blow to the members of Entity, but good thing Aquanox, Somraj, both of them are alive, who are like the top 2 heavy hitters for the team.
All that is fine. Heavy hitters are there all across the lineup, even in the side of Vista Esports, right? A man disadvantage is a man disadvantage. You're facing off against a team that's really comfortable in the points table. You've got a man like Secret, Shadow. These two players, they do pack a lot of that punch. Then you've also got Vixky and Apollo, another 2 great assaulters. And then you're facing off against Troy, Aquanox, and Somraj. Raiden as well could be the man to put on a lot of that firepower, but Somraj is the man with the brains. So I'm not sure how well Entity can come up with this execution. And speaking of the execution itself, the fight breaks out, the silence breaks out between Carpium and WSB as one of the mans taken down for now. WSB, you see the 2 of the players in the front lines, and Trigger is on the receiving end of things. What a great knock that was! As the Trigger gets spotted, WSB slowly and steadily, they're losing out on the man number. It's all down to Gods, and Gods in the past has done a lot of that damage against the foes. He once again finds the opener, but that's all he's gonna find. Instantly gets capitalized from the back.
Absolutely. 2 players is all he was able to find early on, and again WSB taking an early elimination. Getting removed early off from this lobby is going to be a big blow. Carpium did leave that area open, but for now, Troy really wants to find out a perfect nade for that open play. Wixky catches him down and will be able to finish him off. What a lovely spray.
Just really good. That's all he can say. I mean, Carpium in the 4-on-4 is just looking undefeatable. The same thing can be said for Vista Esports too, but Vista Esports is one player is knocked out. Even Shadow G gets knocked out. What was that? One single nade, finding a 2-piece. Vista Esports, the table's being flipped against them. For a moment, we thought Entity's losing this fight. They're losing the grip on this fight. But then that nade sails in, and once again, swings the advantage back in the hands of Entity. Aquanox moves up to get the revival back onto Troy. And Entity, they might just be in the advantage's shoes now. But Vista Esports' Apollo is also going for their revival, so it's probably going to be a 2v2 in the end.
But that's the point, right? You don't have a lot of time to go in for the heal as well, as Troy tries to jump in as well, but the Uzi comes into the play, switches up to another weapon. Apollo will be able to try and survive. No, maybe not. Another beautiful nade, this time from Aquanox. The man who was brought back up on his feet will eventually claim every single life and the bounty.
For the first time, Vista Esports' bounty has been claimed by some team, and that's going to be Entity. Imagine the leap Entity's going to take after this in the overall standings. Vista Esports, definitely quite disappointed with themselves, but for Entity, this was indeed a date with destiny. Aquanox took down all the 4 players of Vista.
It's been a long time since we've seen someone use that DP, right? And that's what happens whenever you're in a situation where you don't really have a lot of time to go in for the weapon hunting. And that was one of the reasons why we did not see Apollo changing up that weapon.
Hey,
had
hold on.
Uzi in his own hand.
It's not just about the DP, man. It's also about the beautiful utility utilization from the foes. They tossed in those 2 nades, and those were right bang on the money. So, what else do you expect? The first nade finds a 2-piece. The second nade also finds a knockout. Once again, just swings the advantage back in the hands of Entity. They were getting that constant man advantage, even though they were the one to start things off with a disadvantage.
Yes.
So it's Entity just straight up proving the opponents unparalleled.
Troy was the first nade, and then it was Aquanox, the man who was brought back up on his feet. But wait a second now. We've been watching Godlike around the vicinity of Team Forever for a while. It's about time that we would potentially see the fight break out between them, because the power play is still active. They've still got quite a lot of minutes to work around with.
Team Forever, they're just camping around that area. They know Godlike would take an exit from that city. I'm not sure what the game plan was for Godlike. Did they really want to hunt down the players of Team Forever? I guess that was the game plan, because I've never seen Godlike drop in towards Zarki, right? It's one of the most safe drop locations. But we have seen Team Forever go there in the past. And look at this beautifully placed nade from Aquanox. A 2-piece to instantly bring the team back in the advantage. And Vista Esports left with nothing but shambles.
Beautiful play coming in from this team. And if I'm not wrong, Aqua was the last man standing in that situation. Somraj was also knocked down on his knees. Troy was also knocked down on his knees on the window when we saw the spray come in from Vixky. But all's done. What's done? Vashishta again getting that early exit. It seems like the new lobby did not change the fate for them. Seems a bad day for their side. But on the other end of the spectrum, Team Z this time around, they did not drop into their normal drop location of the military base island. This time they changed it up towards Lebovka, but still it seems the fate remains the same as Addy tries to go in for the spray down. Will be able to with the S12K in his own hand, but still needs to try and survive against the Reckoning Esports.
Team Z, at least they do something for the first time in a fight. They found themselves in the advantage shoes right now. Reckoning Esports, quite a bad approach in the fight. Now taken down to a two-man spot, considering Immortal will be confirmed as well. Reckoning, a bad start to the day. And now still, the remaining players from this side of Reckoning Esports are looking forward to catch these scrappy points here and there. They're looking forward to catch these exit frags, and they do so as well. Hunters, the man is shooting right on the point. He's not missing a single shot. And Reckoning Esports, they're once again being brought back in the race. These two crucial frags converted by Hunters, and now is also panning the players to death. Team Z, Salt on top of the wounds.
I mean, this would have been a little bit too much maybe, as Saeed could have found a timing on to catch him down. But Hunter still survives that, and it's a 2v1 now.
Keep this thing in mind, 2 shots and 2 knocks, that too from a moving vehicle with the S12K. That's what you call impressive. And just like that, even the last man's confirmed. Team Z, they just vanish into thin air. They evaporate. Oh, Reckoning Esports, just better. That's all we can say. They're just better than Team Z.
Phenomenal approach from them. I just could not do anything apart from the fact that I could maybe just sit in disbelief, as now they need to survive the wrath of Aiku's soul. I mean, they've already fought against Team Z right now. They're still hurt from that fight. But will they be able to survive? Maybe not.
Oh my god.
This is crazy.
I thought it's going to happen once again.
Yeah.
Hunters, he found the opener. Ronnie's taken down. It's a 1-on-3. Will the man go for it? Well, I guess yes is the answer. And already Reckoning Esports, they've been eliminated from the game. But I guess with 8 points, you're still happy with that, right? Reckoning Esports' Flock having some issues in the game. And Reckoning Esports, well, I guess they are still trying to recover from that. Some technical difficulties with Flock. I'm not sure what the resolvement's going to look like for them, but for Aiku's Soul, they've lost out on 2 players in return, Salme and Nukul. And for Nukul, this was a really important game. Keep this thing in mind. His position in the top fraggers list can be capitalized if Nukul does not get enough points or enough eliminations.
And I don't really feel like he'd eventually get it as well, but wait a second. Joker's there to answer back as well. Catches the first one, that is Blaze. Safe is out there and run for his money. Are they going to just leave their player out in the open? That's going to be the big point that I'm looking forward to. Or are they going to try and confirm Joker as well, since they've already brought down Knuckle on his knees. Saume was confirmed as well a while back. But Ronnie and Joker, both of them, they have the power to take on the members of Revenant, as you mentioned. Flock and Blaze, both of them just not there, and it seems like Revenant will try to go in for the survival strat.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Seth and Sensei just backing away from that fight. Aiku's Soul with a 3-man squad back in the race. Knuckle has been revived, so that first spot isn't taken away just yet. He's still there on the top fraggers list at the first. Entity Gaming, Aqua, eyeing out the players of Aiku's Soul. Now they're over here to try and claim some points, considering they know Aiku's Soul is already hurt. They want to shut him down. Knuckle on the receiving end of things. A decent amount of damage was dished out, but then once again, Entity, they're not able to find that finishing blow, that death blow we talk about. Another fighter ups on the elimination feed as 8-Bit 2, they challenge the opponents. And this time, it's going to be Carpium on the receiving end of things, as Mighty's able to find one of the confirmations, but Carpium is still looking pretty strong. But 8-Bit, they're constantly hitting back the players. Uzi on that range is not going to work out, especially when you do not even have a sight. And now they need to close on up with that distance. Carpium, they do toss out the smokes here and there, but look at Revenant Esports in the far fray at the top.
Oh.
They're here to play the spoiler. They're here to claim all the points. And 8-Bit as well, they will be third party pretty much. And that's what's happening. Sensei from the far fray is taking the shots, and Sensei is able to find Fierce. But 8-Bit, they are trying their best to back away from this entire fight. But Mighty is way too low, and the Wall of Death is dealing that constant damage. This nade from Seth should be the final finishing blow.
Aditya should be taken down, and yes, all the players now will be moving out of this lobby. Beautiful play, beautiful confirmation. And guess what? It's Haiku Soul still on the receiving end. Aquanox out there in the compound. You've still got a couple of players out down just that ridge. Ronnie needs to survive whatsoever, and the blue is constantly dealing the damage as well. Sends out another nade, but they will be able to survive. Troy is back on his feet. So it's going to be the entirety of Entity now running on to the members of Haiku Soul. Molly on the outside confirming there's absolutely no one. Just need to land a nade on the inside. Or maybe just move in and use that shotgun.
Yeah, the man's isolated in that one single compound. What can he even do? Entity, they've got all the advantage they can ask for. And Entity, they've already survived one of the most brutal scenarios a team can be put in. They're pretty much back up from the ashes itself. And looking at Ronnie, the man's just smoking himself out. He's holding quite a cheek angle too, but unfortunately for Ronnie, he's also quite scratched up. He needs to patch himself up, but that's where he's lacking.
Exactly.
Ronnie, one single man up against the 3 players of Entity. He's completely smoked out of the room as well. So the players of Entity do not have a clear line of sight on exactly what's going on. An 8 being tossed in the outskirts. And Ronnie's just waiting for himself to be pushed on by the players of Entity. But Entity's not doing so just yet. They're waiting for the smokes to fade away. They're here to claim this one single point. And Ronnie's trying to delay it as much as possible. And he's done his job because the power play is over. Entity, even if they do shut down Ronnie here, they just get one single point. But Ronnie, he placed the spoiler. He's already got the first one. And even the Wall of Death is not doing the damage. What am I seeing? Ronnie, he could have delivered the final finishing blow too. But Aquanox, he saves the day.
Entity almost messing up their 3rd potential clutch. Almost. Raven Reaper would have been the first one. He was the first one. And then it was the Orangutan Boys 2v4. And this time it would have been Ronnie. This constant approach of moving one after the other is what always give their opponents the ability to try and clutch up these scenarios. And it's Ronnie. We really don't want to underestimate the man.
It's fine though. It's still a major step up for Entity. They've managed to get 11 points in this game itself.
That is true.
So Entity's doing really good. You talk about the overall standings. Now this is going to be a catapult that Entity really needed. Before a team like One Blade, so far, they're just going for that winning moment. They're going for that chicken dinner. They do not really care about any of these fights. They're here for the big game. And if they do get the chicken dinner, even for One Blade, it's going to be a big leap in the overall standings.
But here's the thing, right? I mean...
Oh, what am I watching? Hold on. Team Z. I mean, this was a replay. My bad. This was a replay on exactly what just happened. Just caught me off guard, right? Instantly just popped up on the screen like that. But, yeah, for Team Z, it was definitely quite a major blunder considering they were the one to have the big advantage in the fight. And Reckoning Esports, they just executed a 2v4.
Hunters were literally just, you know what? Oh, thank you so much for the lift. And then was also able to take an attempt onto knocking someone out. But it was Revenant coming in for the attempt of that 3rd party. And this was again the situation. Ronnie on that cheeky angle over that green box created an opportunity to watch through that. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, that was a really nasty knock. The man went for the jump peak. And that trace in the midair. Nasty, nasty stuff from Ronnie. And knowing the fact that the man was barely surviving on a sliver of HP too, all it could have took was one single bullet to put Ronnie in his grave, but still the man dished out so much damage. He also got one of the confirmations too, right? So for Entity, now they're just on a 2-man squad. But still, do not underestimate this 2-man squad. If they manage to squeeze away a few more points in the placement, that's going to put Entity in a really good spot in the first half of the board. For a team like Mogo Esports, still trying to find something. They haven't even found any type of scraps in their hands. 0 points in the game so far.
Considering this time there was no Team Z over around the area of Novoripnoi, who would eventually take that bridge towards the Milta and then go for their rotation for you to take down. So yeah, Mogo not having any kind of early aggressive plays from their side, no early points whatsoever. So we're going to be going back to the exact same old play style now, where teams would just try to play for survival, because now those possession points become more important, because I don't think so there's any bounty left to be claimed at this point. We've got Carpium struggling. We've already have Vashista being removed entirely. So yeah, I think so it's going to be easy and slow or smooth sailing for all of these teams, but it seems like, godlike, they kind of want to take a pie off of the Revenant's home, right? Want to take down those couple of players remaining.
Still a decent amount of teams left alive, but the circle's way too massive. The next stage might just force these teams to collide against each other. Godlike right next to the players of Revenant, as you mentioned. But Godlike is much more spread out. Entity is still outside of the zone. Keep this thing in mind. Equinox and Troy.
Yes.
Global Esports now looking forward for this upcoming zone, and it's going to shift in towards that Big Boy Mountain, or at least closer to that Big Boy Mountain. For CG, this is going to be their hometown. They know exactly how to play around this area.
They're going to be happy, minus the fact that they don't have early picks on the members of Global Esports this time around. So, and since Global Esports as well running it with all the 4 members, it's going to be a fun game for them. We'll eventually try to get in a few extra picks as well, left, right and center. Now Mogo always like to play around that area, but wait a second. I think so I see a chase going out in the map feed itself where Godlike, they're trying to isolate both the fights against the members of Revenant and try to take them down.
Now once again, this is where the real concern rises, right? CG, they can do so much more better if they start hunting down teams in the power play.
Yes.
They've got 3 fragging players. You've got S-Power. You've also got Neo. What else do you need? And then add on Goblin at the top. This man has been performing insanely well recently. This man's in form. So CG should try to go for the hunt early on. But looking at Revenant Esports, this time they're caught under the crossfire of Team Godlike. Revenant Esports is safe, getting caught off guard. And now Revenant Esports is taking down a 2-man squad. For Godlike, I'm loving this. They're like a pack of wolf on a hunt.
There's Entity as well passing in from close by. It is possible that they might be able to hear the vehicles, but maybe not. They're going in the exact opposite direction as well. So Entity is going to survive. Sensei as well. That was a good decision to split up with the player. Move in the opposite directions as well. Something that we used to watch a lot.
Now, it makes a lot of sense too, right? Entity, they're done for the day on the fights. They've already taken a lot of those fights. They have converted those fights in the positive aspect as well. So why would you want to go for the fight, especially when you know you will be in a big man disadvantage? It will be 2-on-4. So Entity instead, now they're going to try to play for the placement points because that's the only thing they're lacking in this game.
Probably going to get somewhere around 5 to 6 placement points if in case they move up in the rankings and teams they take down each other. But that too will eventually put them with a good cushion. 10 points is what you basically need in almost every single game until you reach that last week. So it's going to be all fine, cool, calm under the hood. But on the other side, can't really say the exact same thing for Mogo, right? You really need to put up numbers somewhere around 12 to 15 points in this situation to try and close in that gap. Because look at where Vasista is, 74 points. Mogo, only 13.
Team Forever, a team that's been doing decently good for themselves. After yesterday's performance, they've also got the bounty on top of their head, currently sitting in the top 4. But if Team Forever does not perform well enough in this game, that position can be snatched away by Reckoning Esports. Reckoning Esports, considering they got taken down early on. So I guess now Global Esports will have a chance to snatch it away if they do play good enough. But so far, they have claimed 0 points. Now a decent amount of teams are not going for the bounty anymore, right? You've got teams like One Blade not stepping in the fights anymore. Mogo Esports not there. And then you've also got Global Esports now, not wanting to be a part of the early game action because they know sometimes it can be super random because there's too many teams wanting to take advantage of 2 teams fighting and they just end up doing the third party. So third parties are quite tough to deal with.
And it's not just one team that does the third party. That's the whole point. There are at least 2 or 3. I mean, there was a big tree out there. It's fine, Aqua. He'll be able to patch himself up. 17 first aids for Troy as well.
I mean, sometimes the players are looking at the map and
maybe
they keep on driving, right?
Understandable.
So, makes sense. But yeah, the next zone's going to pop up. And once again, it shifts towards the Big Boy Mountain up north. And CG, they've found themselves in the best possible spot. Right in the smack center. They're also controlling so much of that zone. But now it's time to reunite, and that's what they do. They pull all the players back, all the pieces back into one spot.
I really want to see how the engagement up north is going to go like between the members of Global Esports and Godlike. That's an important fight for both of these teams. Because yeah, you also have that higher ground as well, which is going to give you some information. The zone's going to move really slow out there, and it's again admin on the receiving end of the spectrum. Yeah, he's safe.
Oh, it could have been taken down. His vehicle's also smoking a few more bullets, and it's going to blow up. Godlike. Admino needs a lift. Jonathan is the only man who's managed to get any sort of finishes on the name of Godlike. That one single point is going to give them 41.
True.
But Godlike, in the middle of nowhere, they do not really have that comfortable of a spot. From the top, it's the players of Global Esports constantly pressuring them. So Godlike, they do not exactly know where to move. Still a lot of question marks in the head. And now Punk needs to come out with a master plan.
Global Esports as well, just scouting out the area, not doing a lot. Z-God, he's doing the exact same thing for the members of Godlike. So you can see the similarity in the way both of these teams, they really want to play in this area, because you normally talk about it, Global Esports can very well gatekeep the members of Godlike out of this blue, out of the safe circle. But Team Forever as well is a team that you really need to be wary about if you're the members of Global Esports, right? Because you would probably want to go into those compounds that's already been occupied. And I'd say Team Forever is a team that apparently has got a very good positioning too. Carnival Gaming, yes, you could argue, but it's still a bit more in the open. So it's going to be a problem. Now Mogo also deciding to take the entry down in the Gatka from the southwestern part. Should eventually be moving in, but Godlike players, they can potentially find the members of Entity, and that's the chase that's been going around now. Troy trying to run away and survive.
Yeah. As I mentioned, they're done with the fights. They do not want to be part of any fights anymore.
Okay.
And for Godlike too, even they do not want to face off against any of the teams. They want to play for the win. As I mentioned, Punk now needs to come up with a complete master plan, and that's what he's trying to come up with. But Punk, this might just be a disaster. He's between two other teams. And Raven Esports, they might just be in the receiving end of things. Godlike, they're driving around as Admino finds the opener. The second man is right there in the front lines, but Godlike, they cannot end up exposing themselves too much. There's also Aquinox from the back lines of Entity Gaming, which will try to take the advantage of these two teams fighting. Godlike, they are in the man advantage. Admino's knocked out, so that's a neutralizer that Raven Esports needed. But Reaper is now way too low, and he's constantly getting dealt with. Finally patches himself up. Reaper is back once again in the action. But Raven Esports, they have proved themselves time and time again in these type of fights. But Godlike, they have defeated them once in the past. Raven Esports here to redeem themselves. And what a beautiful nade that was. Gets the re-knock onto Admino. And now Punk is there in the back lines once again. It's a 3v3 as even Punk gets strike down. This is where the players of Raven Esports, they get the major advantage.
Spreading them out perfectly. And they're making sure that they bombard the members of Godlike. Punk should eventually be taken down, but the smoke wall is the only thing that's helping them survive. That's cutting off the vision of the members of Raven. But on the other side of the spectrum, it's One Blade as well, just in the vicinity, ready to pounce upon in this engagement, ready to take that third-party advantage onto those sides.
There's One Blade. There was also Entity a while ago. So yeah, there's too many teams just looking forward to take the advantage of this fight, because they know if they do end up neutralizing the threat on this side of the map, then the backlines will be cleared up. And that's why Godlike right now are being dealt with, not just by Raven, but also One Blade from the back. And Raven Esports are being helped by the players of One Blade unintentionally, but Aim God is now starting to deal a lot of damage against Surkar. Even One Blade, they start to close on up towards this compound. Godlike slowly and steadily back in the action as they're getting the revival done. And what a great shot that was from Admino. Even though he does not really have a lot of HP, he still moves up against the foe and he strikes him down. And One Blade, they do not see this coming. Sarkar and KSR, the last two remaining players from One Blade. And what just happened? One Blade, they were here as third parties, but now they're the one to get dealt with. And One Blade slowly and steadily dropping down on the man number as even Sarkar and KSR, they're down. Reaper Esports, or Reaper, he's the man in the front lines. As Raven, they're the one with the advantage.
You could really call him the Reaper Esports at this point, because this man has been fragging out of his mind. And look at the smartness. They know that the blue is going to hit. It's better to directly jump into the circle itself and try to gatekeep these teams who want to run out of the harm's way. Only one member remaining for the side of Godlike. It's going to be a big, big blow. But Aquinox as well has been found out. Raven's going to be claiming his finish too. So it's only Troy now for Entity, who will eventually try to play for the mid strat.
Not just that, Godlike's Admino still alive. He was shrouded inside of that smoke. he can still be the main spoiler. Equinox is knocked out for now, but Raven Esports, this 3-man remaining, is doing a lot of the damage to the lobby. Global Esports as well, slowly and steadily starting to lose the grip in the fight. Beast is way too low. One single nade and even Beast can be taken down, but look at CG making sure that the players of Global Esports will pay the price of pushing up against them. And now it's all down to Slug, and the man's taking way too much damage from the blue. They know exactly where Slug's positioned too. Outside of the blue, and they're looking forward to blow this vehicle up as well. Slug, this man has still got the cover. He strikes down the first, but that's all he's gonna fight.
Beautiful trade coming in from Goblin as well, making sure that his team is going to survive. Carnival Gaming were being pounced upon from two different directions, one by Global Esports and second by Mogo. They managed to stop Mogo in their tracks, and our Team Forever as well has joined into the action to try and claim in some picks. Mogo on the other side trying to take those long-range fights.
I mean, look at the zone. It's in no man's land. It's out in the open. All the other teams are playing from the outskirts, from the edges. And now Carnival Gaming, it's time to shift your focus on Team Forever. I like the multitasking from the side of CG, right? Instantly getting rid of the players of Global Esports. And now they're doing the same thing against the players of Team Forever. And within a flash, even Team Forever, they take an exit from the game.
Carnival Gaming, some important finishes coming out here. And we've got to check, maybe they've claimed the bounty as well. But on the other side, Mogo up against the members of Raven. A few trades going back and forth, but the advantage should be in the hands of Mogo. Raven, entirety of the team has also been taken down as well. Beautiful play coming in from their side, and it was Troy with the spoiling third party out here. And will eventually come to the play zone as well. Hector, oh my god, what a shot from this man!
Delta PG knocked out. Mogo Esports. This is a really good chance for them to conquer the battlegrounds and get the victory in the hands. And Robin right now, he fights the striker. First man's taken down instantly. And what do we see? CG choking up the fight slowly and steadily. But even Mogo Esports is taken down to the last glimmer of hope. And that dude's going to be Justin. Look at CG. Even they're down to just this one last man. It's the top two teams. And S-Power's going for the revival on the fallen player. Robin should give the marker to the last remaining man of Mogo Esports. But where is the marker? Hector's way too far away for CG. Oh no, they found the revival. And now it's 3 players from the side of CG against that one single man of Mogo Esports. What can he do?
Maybe just fire a few shots, that's about it. Justin's got to turn a madman right now. But I really hope for the marker to be there. I mean, that would have been such an open spam in the open territory.
Oh, Justin needs to move inside of the zone. He's got all the pressure upon himself. And also a 1v3 to be converted.
It's Carnival.
Victory. Carnival Gaming, there we go. It's time to strike now. Justin, the man's now starting to get surrounded by all sorts of players. And yeah, eventually he will be dealt with. Carnival Gaming, they played this game super slow. And in the end, it also paid off. Patience paid off for the side of Carnival as they get the win in the first game of the day. Before teams like Mogo Esports, they came ever so close. Even Global Esports, they could have been the one to come out on top. But CG, the beautifully placed utilities, made sure that Global Esports won't have a winning chance anymore. But Entity Gaming, even they went away with a lot of those points in their hands. And for these type of moments, Entity, they will find themselves in a really good spot.
समझ नहीं आ रहा था कि कौन सी डेस्क पे जाना है क्योंकि ये लास्ट की फाइट जो थी मोंगो के साथ वो बहुत ज़्यादा टेंस हो गई थी. बट ब्रो यू पुल्ड इट ऑफ. क्या कुछ नर्वी मोमेंट्स थे?
नहीं, ऐसा तो कुछ था नहीं यार.
नहीं, मैं सोच रहा था कि शायद मोगो भी जीत सकती है, आप भी जीत सकते हैं, लेकिन फाइनली चिकन डिनर मिला है. पॉइंट्स बहुत कम थे, तो क्या चल रहा था मन में?
कुछ नहीं, हमने जब 2-3 टीम को वाइप किए थे ना, मेरे को पंप हो गया था अंदर से कि मारना है. तो जैसे ही एक नॉक मिला ना जोन के अंदर, घुसा दो करके, देखा जाएगा.
क्या बहुत बात चल रही थी उस टाइम पे जब लास्ट की कुछ फाइट चल रही थी, जब 4 टीमें बची थी?
मतलब हम लोग स्टार्टिंग में बहुत फाइट के लिए जा रहे थे, बट फाइट मिल ही नहीं रही थी. और एक टाइम आया कि 2 साइड से स्लैम आ गया था हम पे, तो तब थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे हुआ था, बट हम लोग ने इजीली निकाल दिया. बाकी यार पावर के साथ लगा नहीं था, चिकन आएगा बट आ गया.
क्या बात है. Alright, listen, these guys are celebrating obviously. CG picking up the first chicken dinner on this day. लेकिन अभी के लिए वापस जाएंगे हमारे लड़कों के पास.
Friendly fire from Goblin. He just took shots against his own teammate S-Power. But yeah, jokes apart, Carnival Gaming, this was a desperately needed win too. Now imagine the catapult in the overall standings. This is going to be a big one, and the same thing can be said for Entity too. At the start of the day, we had a big talk about these two teams, and now they're doing really good. And talk about really good things, it's also Crunchyroll, right? With the largest anime library in India, with over 800 plus shows, and you can watch all those shows in your preferred language. Watch now only for 79 rupees per person.
I mean, to be brutally honest, all the members of Carnival Gaming turned into the Hashiras from Kimetsu no Yaiba. Yeah, that's the geek. I use Crunchyroll. So, but the fun fact being, as I mentioned about the situation as well, that they were slammed in from multiple directions, even by GE, also by Mogo. Yet they were able to come out on top from that situation and pushed against the members of GE. That was clearly wreaking confidence.
How can we forget this fight to kick things off with the show, right? Vista Esports versus Entity, where Entity Gaming Aquanox with that table turner of a nade and instantly just bringing his team back in the action. Team Z up against the players of Reckoning Esports, where Team Z had the advantage. But then later on, Reckoning Esports, they just converted a 2v4 in their favor. And all thanks to Hunters, man. This man hunted down the players which were arriving against him.
You can't hunt the hunter whatsoever, and he clearly showed that as well. Even against the members of Aiku Soul, he still managed to survive by taking down one person. Yeah, eventually it's come to the numbers that came in on the other side. It's Aiku Soul at the end of the day. But even after that, 8-Bit, again, not having that good of a start, did definitely try to claim up the bounty on Carpium, but it was the last couple of members remaining from Remnant who were able to steal it away. So I don't think so they're gonna get anything out of it. But again, there was this situation where we saw Godlike pouncing on to the members of Raven, but did not anticipate the entire spread out that was coming in.
I mean, there was also Raven Esports, Godlike in the vicinity. Then OneBlade came over there as a third party. Even Entity Gaming was there in the back lines, but Entity, they did not want to be a part of that fight. Instead, they just had the placement points in front of their mind. But OneBlade, they came in as the third party. They were the one with the advantage. But then later on, OneBlade got targeted, not just by the players of Godlike, but even by the players of Raven Esports. So OneBlade were the one to get caught in the crossfire later on.
That's the whole point about it, because of the positioning that was a bit too awkward out there. But a team that's position was not awkward at all was definitely Carnival Gaming, and they were able to quickly turn it in their favor as well. So I was really excited to see. But oh my god, this is something I wanted to point out in between, that Aquanox has 6 finishes for himself.
Of course, it is Entity Gaming, man. A team that took the advantage of the power play. And not just that, they also managed to claim the bounty itself against Vista Esports. For the first time, a team has managed to take down Vista Esports and claim that bounty. But as you do have to start the match, once again, it's going to be Aquanox as well as the best companion, and then as Power there as the finisher.
Absolutely, getting that last pick as well onto the last remaining member out there of Mogo. It was a very good game coming in for Carnival Gaming, but yes, those bounties are something that we really want to talk about, that we really need to talk about, because the way how they claim the bounties is, again, important for all of these teams.
Exactly, and you can also tap and pay with your Android devices. But yeah, moving on with the conversation, right? Now, we talked about CG, of course, making that bounce back. We also talked about a team like Entity Gaming making that comeback. Before a team like Godlike, it was a decent performance, not that good as we expected, but still better things can be done from the side of Godlike. After we move on towards the match of Miramar, which will be happening soon enough, it will be Group A, B, D, and E stepping up. This time, Group C is going to be taking an exit, which is going to be Seoul, Forever, Vasista, and even Carpium not playing it.
Absolutely, but the ones who will be joining us will be Team Expa, God's Reign, Orangutan, as well as Team Tamila. So you already know that there's one team out here who have the bounty on their head, and there's the bounty hunting team out here. So you've basically got to be worried if you're in that top 4.
And keep this thing in mind, OG, they've got the momentum with them, considering yesterday's day was ended on a really good note by Aru. So OG, they have the advantage to start things off with over here. For God's Reign, even you can't say they've got the advantage too, because yesterday God's Reign was trying to take advantage of the power play system and also the bounty teams, right? But unfortunately, it's a whole other story that they were not able to claim the bounty. But God's Reign, one thing is for sure, man, they always move fearlessly in those power play moments.
Absolutely, just like the Philips One Blade. I know you really wanted to talk about that as well, but I love the fact how you always touched upon that point of God's Reign moving fearlessly. But at the same time, another team that really needs to get fearless at this point is X-Pac, because this is the team that performed really well in the opening week. That one game was a banger one, basically got them from the 20th position directly to the second. But this time, they're just not finding their footing. I mean, 5 points in 5 games. They're averaging 1 point a game.
And keep this thing in mind, even Global Esports can now once again turn on that aggressive suit.
Yes.
Because, yeah, the previous game, they tested the waters after playing it a little bit safer, but it clearly just did not work out for them. Before a team like Entity, playing aggressive completely worked out. Off the rip, they took a fight against the players of Vista Esports where they claimed the bounty, and then once again, they kept on taking fights after fights. They also strike down a couple of known names in the entire lobby. Even Reckoning Esports for a while was under their fire. So Entity was taking shots all across the board. Once they were taken down to a two-man squad, that's where they stopped taking the fights because they knew they've already secured a lot of points in general. Before a team like OnePlate as well, they need to do something. These are the match rankings of the previous match where Entity, they secured 28 points, but you move on towards CG, a team that secured the chicken dinner, they have gotten 21.
Absolutely, and it seems that Entity also claimed the bounty which we were talking about on Vista. But on the other side of the spectrum, WSB, Global Esports, Vista themselves, Team Forever, not having that big of a leap as well, right? And considering the fact how Team Forever almost survived till that last circle, yet are in the down bottom 4 position, clearly shows you that position is not that important, but it is the finish points.
Are we also seeing a dip in the performance of Raven Esports? Because yesterday's day wasn't too good, and today's day did not start off that well as well. And maybe what can make their day really well or good can be the Google Play Days because they're live right now. So make sure to grab the best offers available.
Absolutely, you do not want to miss out on them whatsoever. Just like how this time around 8-Bit will not try to miss on those early fights. In any situation, you see this team perform really well, and once they start to go, it seems that there's absolutely no way that you can eventually stop them. And a team that has been on a roll specifically since that last few circles has been Carnival Gaming. If this team gets pumped up, you know you better not be in their way because you will eventually be stumbled down.
Talk about the pump, and WSB, they've definitely lost their pump after getting wiped out by Carpium like that. I mean, WSB, they've just had that one single nuclear performance, and after that, WSB, they've just been deactivated from this entire lobby. Before a team like Entity now having the bounty on top of your head, look at that leap. Entity moving in from the latter half of the board. They started things off in the 12th spot in the overall standings, and now they're in the top 4. Isn't that surprising?
It definitely is. As I've already told you, they basically found their cursed energy and are now starting to utilize that. But another team that has to do almost the similar thing is going to be Reckoning. They've got that consistency. They're constantly getting a few of those points time after time. You want to see a big game coming in from them. And talking about big game, a team that is desperately requiring a big game is Xpark.
I'm not worried about them for some reason. I'm never worried about Xpark. We know what they're capable of. Recently, they've also won a championship in the official tournament, and that is one of the most toughest things to do because every single team is sweating to try and get that trophy in their hands. And Xpark, they were the one to come out on top with hundreds of thousands of team. So yeah, I know what Xpark is capable of. I'm still not sweating for them. But knowing now that Team Tamila is back in the competition, I want to see what they've got to offer because their spot is taken away in the top 4.
Indeed, that is true. Their spot from the top 4 has been taken away. I still feel they'd eventually be there. Maybe it was Team Forever whose spot was taken away. I think so. We're still going to have those 2 bounty teams out here, right? At least one of them is there that you know. So Entity is going to be targeted. And again, on this map, you really do not want to be. Team Z, again, they had a good performance in one of the games, but apart from that, they've still been struggling a lot in terms of the firepower as well as in terms of the positioning. They have been getting caught in their rotations itself. And when it comes to just those raw duels, it seems that their players, they kind of take their individual duels rather than playing in as a team and taking trades off each other.
Pretty much. Somewhere down line, as we know, all these lineups are just made a while ago, right? Before this tournament. So they know as a team sometimes they can be a little bit weak when it comes to that communication. The synergy is not going to match up. So that's why a lot of these players do tend to go for the individual fights. And we're just sort of working out for a few teams, I'm not going to lie. But for some teams, team play is just going to be the main gameplay. And Entity, the previous one, it was definitely quite the gameplay they showcased. And they relied on the entire team. All the 4 players were going for the fight right next to each other. Before a team like Global Esports, that instant shift in the performance just caught them off guard.
Indeed, that is true. And I mean, talking about these things, right, I feel that the time is of essence for not just one, for quite a few teams out there. Because if you cannot find the footing in the early scenarios of these stages, it becomes even more difficult for you to try and get that in the mid phase of the tournament itself. When you move in over towards the later stages, it's going to be just all hell breaking loose on you. And that is something you really do not want to be at. But hey, it seems it's about time, Necro.
Yeah, time to move on to the second and the last game of the day. As the map of Miramar rolls up on the screen, and as the big bird's gonna hit the sky once again, starting all the way from truck stop towards El Pozo, this plane fly path is tilted up north. If you do want to move down south towards Las Leonas, Puerto Paraiso, even Impala, it will be a tough stretch.
So you're basically saying God like gonna be slowed down a little bit, right?
I mean, right now, Punk, it feels like this man hasn't really found himself that suitable and that comfortable home just yet. Punk is just all across the map. He does not care where his team's dropping. He's just taking them to a random spot, and still Godlike is able to find a decent amount of points. So whatever works, whatever rocks your boat, man.
I guess so. Mogo again going in for their same default drop. There's gonna be absolutely no problem out there. I really want to see how Revenant's going to be going to perform in this one, because it is crucial, a crucial game for them, which we've been talking about. We've been saying it time after time again. This is a team that does not really go on to that explosive end, but rather always relies on their consistency, and they're struggling to find that. 8-bit on the other side is a team that really likes to be explosive. In some of the situations, we see this team grabbing all those 10, 12, 15, 18 points early on, and if that's not happening, they also eventually try to play in for that late a little bit sometimes.
Look at that spread from Global Esports. Hacienda del Patron, San Martin covered. You've got Godsreen dropping in towards San Martin. Where's Team X-Spark? That's my question. Last time we did see a drop collision between the players of Godsreen and Team X-Spark, but this time we're not seeing the same thing repeat itself. So that's something that's catching me off guard. You've also got OG dropping in towards the outskirts of the map. Not exactly outskirts, but in the off cities, if you'd like to say. And what am I watching? It's Slice and Dice competition. Fruit Ninja.
And guess what? It's Carnival Gaming winning in that one. We talked about this team. You should never give them the early momentum. And this time they've got it right away from the machetes as well as the knives. I don't think so they even need guns at this point.
Why is this even happening over and over again?
I mean, one blade.
It's one blade messing up every single time. They haven't even won once against CG in this league stage.
Yeah, I guess so. There was one time I still remember one blade were able to win, but I guess, as you mentioned, it was all the way back in the opening weekend.
Yeah, in the league stage. They haven't been able to win even once. Yeah. So I guess CG now has figured out where exactly one blade likes to drop, and they have found the counter for that one blade. At this point in time, they know they're struggling way too much, and one blade needs to come up with something new. At least all the 4 players drop onto one spot of the city, loot up, and then maybe go for a proper 4-on-4 execution against CG. But dropping in really scattered ways is not going to work out, because clearly, individually, it seems like the players of CG are better. And one blade, this man is just isolated all by himself, and I'm not even sure what he's doing. Showing the back to the battlefield.
Something that you never do. Kanopi taken down, and it's just a hunting party out here. Every single person of Carnival Gaming just trying to hunt down the last member, KSR7. Just a couple of more compounds, man, and you'd be able to find him eventually. He's got the M4 as well as the UMP in his hand, so you've got to be a bit worried about it. If in case it's about a little bit of a range, but I don't think so he's got any more utilities whatsoever. Maybe a few headshots will eventually help you find that opening, but Carnival Gaming are just not giving him an inch.
S-Power moving in tandem with the teammates. And look at this one last man from the side of one blade. He's just trying to keep his position anonymous and survive for as long as possible. He's ready with the nade too. If someone decides to approach this angle, he will cook up a nade and try and shut him down in return. Position uncompromised. CG, they know this man is somewhere around this vicinity. That's why they're searching each and every single building, each and every single nuke and cranny. But they're still not able to find anything. Not even a trace of the man.
They're moving as a pack as well, right? All 3 players sticking together, and then there's Goblin just behind them to make sure that even if all 3 of them gets taken down by one nasty, cheeky angle, he'd still be able to go in for the trade as well. And since 3 of them are sticking together, you'd eventually have that trade already on the second entry itself. They're not giving any isolated duels to KSR7, and it seems basically his prayers will eventually be answered. Carnival Gaming are not moving in his directions anymore. They're going in over towards the other buildings, towards the other houses. They still have not figured out where that man is, and they'll eventually try to go in for the hunt.
Yeah, they're looting and searching at the same time.
Smart.
One Blade, they've only got 21 points so far in this tournament, in the league stage. And those 21 points are definitely not enough to keep you in the race. If you want to be in the top 4, you need to perform like one of the best. And just like how Entity, they managed to secure a big leap directly in the top 4. One Blade, if they do end up winning some of the fights off the rip, that's going to put them in such a big advantage spot.
Here's this big thing that I always talk about in certain scenarios, and I really want to talk about it right now. And that is the fact that position points really do not matter that much unless you're actually claiming that chicken dinner, right? You get 10 points for the chicken dinner, yes, understandable. But you've basically got no early eliminations. If you're basically in a situation where One Blade is right now, position points are not going to matter that much apart from just 1 or 2, which you'll eventually end up getting. Because I'm assuming if you claim that second spot from this point onwards, that's like the dream play that would eventually happen, but chances are pretty less for that.
Better than none.
1 or 2.
Entity up against Godlike. The battle of the century, maybe? Right next to each other. I guess Entity, they do know there's someone around this area. But they're slowly and steadily moving towards Trailer Park. And I'm not sure what now Entity's trying to pull off. Maybe cut off all the possible rotation outways for Godlike. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. And yes, that's what it seems like. Entity, they're circling around this entire Ruins area because they know Godlike is slowly and steadily looking for to move out of that spot. And there we go. Jonathan spotted. Does Jonathan know there's Raiden on this side of the map? And yes, he now knows. But all the shots and opportunities missed now.
Nate.
And Raiden is cooking up a nade to shut down Jonathan. One single spot, and that might just do the deed. And there we go. The nade burst, but Jonathan is still somehow alive. The man's got the God of Hand himself with him. And Jonathan now patches himself up, but it still does not matter as Troy, he hands out the death blow to Jonathan. And now Godlike completely caught off guard. Jonathan taking down to Dustin. Godlike, they're trying their best to back away from this spot. Samraj, he connects a few bullets, but it's just damage that he gets.
Needs that one last, but just could not find it. Hence, Punk is going to survive with Z-God. Or Z-God is going to survive with Punk. They're going to give up on that vehicle. Both will move together. Head to that one Pagani. And it's all down to Entity now trying to hunt down the last few remaining members. 3 still out here in the open. They can try and eventually find a few. Z-God out in the open. Admino, oh my god.
They know he's here. They've seen the Urus.
Yeah, they spotted him.
Yeah, they know there's a man in this compound. And now Admino's also moved up a little bit. First shotgun shot whiffed. Every single shot you whiffed will be a lifeline granted to the opponent, and they will keep on getting stronger with each and every single shot you miss. But Admino, he still finds the first pounce as he's able to shut down the first player. Godlike slowly and steadily now. Even they're starting to get comfy in this fight. There is one man knocked out in the back lines, but still you've got Punk and Admino up and alive in the closer range. And Aquinox, he's looking to toss a nade inside of this house, but Admino is still somehow alive around the compound. Punk is also getting shotted from the far fray. And now Entity, they decide to close on up. Aquinox eventually finds the frag onto Admino, and now it's all down to Punk. What can he do? The man's taking shots from all the different angles, and Punk gets dealt with. Godlike off the rip, they have been eliminated. Today's day was quite bad for them.
Almost attempting to take down all the members, but Entity will survive. Aquinox and Sombrad staying upon their feet, and it's Aqua to strike again. 8 finishes already in the name of this man. 6 from the previous 2 from right now. He is taking a humongous leap. A bonkers leap in the most wicked players list. Talk about a picture-perfect execution. And fun fact, Necro, this team has a bounty on their head. They're aggressively taking those fights against other teams.
The crazy part is, that's what I thought as well Entity will do. Now, I know this is just a fluke that just happened. My thoughts matched with Somraj's. But I thought that Entity will probably do the same thing. They would not care if there's a bounty on top of their head, because you've noticed one single play pattern, and that is that all the teams with the bounty on their head instantly start playing it safe. But Somraj, he came up with a different plan. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to let that thing phase me away. Instead, we will still stick to the basic, how we were playing. We will drop on our drop location and instantly start hunting down teams in the power play. And they hunted down Godlike, a team that has already been sort of struggling in the tournament.
They were just starting to find their footing after yesterday's performance from the entire team. But for now, 8-Bit, they've got to step up. They're trying to hunt down the members. If I'm not wrong, it's Team Tamilas as well. Mr. IGL.
And he's still able to strike one of the players down. Team Tamilas, yes, the return knock is going to beat her on the board. But then look at 8-Bit Mac. The man runs over one of the players. Instantly, Mac ejects out, gets another man knocked out. 8-Bit, they're back in the race, in the fight. And now Team Tamilas, Manti's quite low. Maxi's low as well. As Fox bleeds to his death, Mac delivers the final shot to the skull. And just like that, the entirety of Team Tamilas, they come crashing down.
But does it matter right now for 8-Bit is going to be the big question. They've got 8 points, but it seems they are being hunted right now as well. As another team joins into the action, and Ninja Boy is sent back to the village of Konoha. No place for you in the lands of Miramar, says Mac.
Oh my god, 8-Bit.
My god.
Yeah, Global Esports. What is going on? They came in for the third party with the advantage in the fight, but still, Global Esports, slowly and steadily, they're losing the grip on this entire area. Beast is now in the outskirts. He's got a little bit of that high ground to play with. 8-Bit, they've made sure that the ground underneath the players of Global Esports will be taken away, will be snatched away. The nades are now doing a lot of that brutal damage against them, but Team 8-Bit, it's completely fine considering they've still got the man advantage. And now Revenant Esports from the back, even they start a hit up. It's the fourth party of Revenants. And Revenant Esports, they've already strike down the players of Global Esports. Another 2 players decapitated.
They're trying to steal away all those picks as well, but hold on a second, hold your horses. It seems that Team Z as well as Mogo, they want to join into a bit of the action too. But Revenant, seems like they've decided to play it safe. They found a couple of open flushes, they'll be moving off. They've done their damage and don't want to overstay their welcome.
Oh, even Mogo Esports is on their way. They've heard all that commotion.
Told you.
Mogo want to be a part of this action too. 8-Bit still inside of the house looking comfy as ever before. I mean, they did take a lot of those blows upon themselves. And now Beast is right around that monster truck. Aditya hasn't spotted his feet just yet. But all it takes is that one single glimmer. Orangutan. Oh no, the vehicles were stuck. Finally. Now they're unstuck. But yeah, back to the scenario. Beast still trapped behind that one single monster truck. And I guess 8-Bit, they know of this scenario. But what just happened to Revenant? They instantly backed away. They claimed those points. They instantly moved away from that spot. Revenant Esports is just living on scraps at this point.
I still like the idea as well. If they would have overstayed, would have basically got a couple of their players knocked out as well, maybe in the skirmishes, in the trades, you would have seen Team Z pounce on that opportunity, Mogo as well jumping on that opportunity. And Sensei is smart. He realizes that.
Oh, he spotted the feet. He knows where Beast is now. And look at him. Aditya creates an off angle. There we go. Now starting to shoot his toes. But Beast pulls out the shotgun. He gets the first man. He's trying to go for the confirmation too. And Aditya, he's been taking down Beast. Beast, this man has proven the opponents wrong in these type of clutch scenarios over and over again. And once again, he's showing a glimpse of that. The man's looking at his own reflection off the past. And now Beast, he's looking for to be the Beast incarnate. But this time he gets shut down. The clutch almost could have came through. This man is the Clutchmeister in Global Esports, but this time he does not get the proper execution.
But wait a second, not enough as Revenant still in the outskirts out here. Want to try and get that pie in their own favor. A long nade does not go inside the house. So Revenant just playing on that high ground. This time it seems like they backed off. Not overstaying their welcome. Team Z as well. I wanted to see them pounce on the perfect opportunity, but hold on a second. If you are looking at the map, Necro, right now, I mean, a lot of these teams are creating that off-center cluster, but most of it is over towards just the southeast, northeastern part.
8-bit, I want to move on to that conversation once again. 8-bit is now in the exact spot where Team Entity was a while ago in the previous game of Erangel.
Yes.
11 points claimed from that entire power play. And now all 8-bit needs to do is just stay quiet, move away from all the fights and the chaos, and try and secure some placement points. They've already done their job. But Entity was in a much more better spot considering they claimed the bounty.
Yes.
And 8-bit, they haven't just yet.
That's the exact point I wanted to pick up as well, because Entity were able to claim the bounty on Bashista. But that's not the exact same scenario with 8-bit right now. So, still lacking those additional 10 points. But I think so it could be fine as well.
Yeah, it's completely okay in my opinion, right? Even if you do end up getting 15 to 18 points from this one single game, that's still good enough. I mean, if you get anywhere around 18 points every single day, that's really consistent. That's really good.
True.
And then in the final few days, you can try to bring yourself in that top 4 and a direct slot to the grand finals. You will be skipping the playoffs.
The lands of Los Leones, it's basically becoming Lost Leones. You're just losing players left, right, and center.
That was a really bad pun.
I don't care. I just wanted to make that one.
Really bad.
Thank you. But hey, one thing that has basically been going good is again, I would say, Sensei and how he was able to call off in that situation to not pounce on to the members of 8-bit because there was a possibility of another third party. And it seems a lot of teams are now starting to learn that in the power play you will see a lot of those third parties.
You just talked about Sensei, and I think so they're walking into a death trap against Team X Park.
Are they?
Team X Park, they've got a really good spot. Or my bad, I'm not talking about Revenant, I'm talking about RGE. The R's at the start, just getting me confused, and also considering the screen's a little bit far away, so it's getting tough for me to see. But yeah, Reckoning Esports at the top, moving down south, and they might just walk into a trap set by the players of Team X Park. Considering
True.
X Park, they know Reckoning is the one who's looking a little bit more desperate, who wants to move in. And that's where X Park will have the advantage. And that's what happens. Hunter gets strike down. A man who was the table turner in the previous game, this time is not there to support the firepower of Reckoning Esports anymore. And Reckoning Esports already capitalized. Gravity Jot's taken way too low. And Team X Park, when it comes to these 4-on-4 fights, they're really undefeated.
They've got some good positioning as well, thanks to the IGLing that's coming in. And that's one of the big parts where RG, they've got to be worried about now. They've lost a member already, Dionysus as well, taken down on his knees. It's all down to Immortal and Gravity. Needs to find a lucky nade, that's the main part about it. Spray God out and open from top. Just a chunk of damage, nothing apart. He's got the S12K in his own hands now. Should have heard the drop of the player already. That's why he's just being careful about it. Not just jumping in blindly. Team X Park, they're moving in as a unit. Perfect from Ninja. Catches Immortal out and will be able to claim him.
Immortal, now looking mortal. There we go. Man's out in the open, exposed. Mini 14. It's going to start a shred away. The taps are there. Man's once again quite exposed. Looking to claim the man. He's missing a lot of those shots, which he should not have missed in the first place. But Team X Park, Sarang's knocked out. Revival's going to be there instantly. So Team X Park once again back in full force. Spray God wanted to pop that first aid, or that med kit, but did not have enough time. And now Gravity Jod, he wanted to go for the revival on the fallen player, but Gravity's way too low. And Gravity needs to realize one thing, and that is that the opponents are way too close to him. And even there's the cover fire from the back, which is Spray God.
Does he have enough time to actually go in for the first aid? Yeah, I guess he has.
He does. He will be able to pop the first aid, but barely on the nick of time. He's found himself that little tree to play around with, and now the smoke is there in the front. But Gravity, yeah, he does not stand a chance. It's all the players of X Park pouncing on top of him at the same time.
Shadow gets a 3K out of it as well. A big confidence booster for their side, and you call for it, Necro. That fight over towards Graveyard, the trap setup that was laid down, making sure that if anyone wants to come in for the rotation, will eventually be taken out by that trap. But that's not the only thing that's basically getting laid out. It's Entity as well. Losing on a couple of players. Sombra's down on his knees. Oh, a running buggy. Smart move by Raiden as well. He needs to land in these shots, but will eventually still move up and down to back off as Hulk has been taken down by Troy. Perfect cover provided by his teammate. Raiden still tries to fight. TBS in the hand. The shot's not being connected.
Yeah. Entity Gaming losing out on two crucial players. That's Raven Esports. They're feeling a little bit more stronger in this fight. It's now taken down to a 2-on-2 where Entity Equinox is being pushed back a little bit more. Well, make that a 1-on-2 now. Equinox all by himself in this fight up close and personal. And am I seeing this right?
Yes.
One of the men is using a Vector. You rarely see this weapon being utilized in a fight because the players do not really tend to use it. And now you're finally seeing Vector being utilized as well. I like the variety from the side of Raven Esports. And it's not even like Raven Esports are doing bad in the games. No, they're doing really good. They're topping the charts. Or at least some are closer of topping the charts.
Oh
and
my
there we go. Equinox gets found with that Molotov. Nicely done. Good execution from the side of Raven.
And it seems like they've also claimed the bounty as well. So Raven are looking in a very comfortable and a prime spot now, losing on just one member, and that was Hulk. So I think so it's absolutely fine for their side. They get an additional 10 points, claiming that bounty. And also in a decent location too. Just a bit of rotation, that would be fine. At least for this one. WSB as well, they are in the vicinity. They might have heard a lot of the commotion, but I think so it's about time that Revenant as well. They try and search for a few people left, right and center. They need a few points to try and climb up in those ranking boards. They're all the way down to almost the last 4 positions.
Yeah. Next zone's going to be crucial. It will be dictating the pace of the game as well. And it shifts down south. All the teams up north are now majorly screwed. God's Reen will try to make their way instantly inside of the zone. CG can probably try and make sure that they're setting a death trap against God's Reen. But even Team X-Park, they will need to start to come up with some master plans as well to try and rotate inside of the zone flawlessly. Before some of the teams that have already made it inside the zone a really good spot, they can be the one to dictate the space. But you talk about Reven Esports engaging in a fight themselves. And for the opponents, it's not looking too good. Yeah, Blaze is being lost out from the side of Reven Esports for now. But what am I watching from Team Z? Addy knocks himself out with that leap that he took. And Reven Esports, they're being put in the advantage once again. Sensei, OG, and Seth, the last 2 remaining players from the side of Reven Esports, they're still able to squeeze away a few points here and there. And now Team Z taken down to a 2-man squad as well. But Seth, he messes up majorly. And he gives the opponent a striking advantage once again as Kylo steps up. But then Sensei, he's trying his best to fight back. And now it's a 1-on-1 between Kylo and Sensei. Revenant versus TZ. As Kylo, he exposes himself a little bit, but then a third party from Mogo Esports, it wipes out the existence of Revenant Esports.
My, oh my. Fights happening left, right and center. And it's Hector still trying to fire in a few bursts to claim that one more player out there. But TZ, they messed up a lot. WSB, they really can't mess up against Raven. And that Vector is insane if it's in the hands of Reaper. Man, it's just not stopping whatsoever in every single fight. It's just the last 2 players remaining. But they're still standing strong against the members of WSB.
I mean, yeah, he's ripping things apart, and now it's just down to Trigger. A 1-on-2 around this compound. And yeah, not for long. As Trigger blows himself up. What just happened?
Overcooked.
Overcooked, or was it intentional? I don't think so that was intentional, right? Because, yeah, I guess Trigger just messed up straight up. And WSB, I mean, at the start of the league stage, they were looking like a formidable opponent, but now look at them. They're not even close to securing any sort of points. They're just cracking under this pressure.
4 teams right now inside the circle. Mogo, OG, Carnival Gaming, God's Reign. All of them can gatekeep some or the other team on the other part. 8-bit as well will be looking to take the entry all the way from down south. They've got to be worried about a couple of teams that can eventually take them down. Orangutan, they've got a good amount of high ground as well. Just on towards the northeastern part of the Chumasera, so there are a few hills out there. And that's what they will be utilizing. They've got to be worried about 8-bit though. Down onto the 5 o'clock. But on the other side, Raven, They still survive through all that commotion, man. Look, imagine the amount of points this team will be getting.
All of that is fine, but look at OG once again going for that finishing blow, going for that chicken dinner. Just the way he played yesterday in the final game. Once again, OG's trying to replicate the same thing, but in a different map. Raven Esports, they have spotted the glimmer of the players of OG and the Apes right now. They just want to stay away from all the chaos. They want to play for the win. The Apes, they haven't gotten a lot of those points when it comes to the finishes, but they're here prioritizing the placement points.
True.
Raven Esports taking shots not just against the players of OG, but they're also dealing damage against the players of God's Reign, which are right next to him. And there we go. Venom closes on up. He wants to attract some attention upon himself, but he's not successful enough to do so.
Bit of an overcooked nade out there. It's fine though. If in case Venom would have aggressed far forward, that nade would have hit perfectly. Smart play coming in from Aim God out here, but yeah, he's just making sure that there's no aggression out, and God's Reign as well deciding not to over-aggress on the fight, but next part definitely want to find some opening as well. What a quick turn and taken down. Esparva has been finished off as well. Carnival Gaming looking clever, and they will be finished off as well. Time after time, it's Prey God with that shotgun.
Yeah. I mean, Goblin was able to find Sarang as well in that return, but it's Team X-Park you're facing off against. No matter how much advantage you try to find in the fights, it's all going to go down.
I mean,
Mogo Esports, they're there at the top. But keep this thing in mind for Mogo, they've got all the players up and alive. They're specifically looking at the way Team X-Park is playing for now. It feels like they do not have the intention of taking the fight. Instead, they just want to defend it for as long as possible.
The whole point about it being Moga had a perfect opportunity to try and pounce on the members of X-Park. They just decided not to. And that's a big decision that I think that they're making right now. Want to go inside the circle. Yes, that is understandable. But at the same time, now they've got to be worried about the other teams that will be fighting upon them. One of them is definitely Orangutan.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the split that Mogo Esports is coming up with, right? Robin is all by himself towards the players of X-Park. Then the rest two players are way too far away. That's where the opponent teams do tend to get the advantage. That might just put the players of Mogo Esports in a big disadvantage. There needs to be some sort of unity. Robin is trying to close on up with that distance, but will he be able to do so successfully without taking a lot of that damage? That's my real question. OG still on top with a three-man squad. As I mentioned, OG, they have been aiming for the win this whole time. And if OG is still not able to win the game, then that's really unfortunate. Because they just have one single finish point in the hand. Mogo Esports with the lower ground, they're clearly in a big disadvantage considering even from the back, it's Team X-Park. And there we go, Spray God. Oh, this man is doing so much damage. Not just against Mogo, that too against OG.
Both the teams in his own crosshair, and that's why I mentioned that Team X-Park, they've got a prime positioning right now. Mogo should have gone in for those finishes, but X-Park now has got the perfect opportunity to try and pounce on all of those targets. It's an open grounds in front of you, open fields as well. Yes, a few ridges to work around with, but I don't think that's enough. And this is what I was worried about for Mogo. They're currently a pincered. There's a bread among the different slices of butter right now. They'll be taken down so very quickly.
They indeed will be.
But OG, they've decided to back off from that one. They want to quickly run away inside the circle, but oh my goodness, look at the ideas. Ravens, couple of members as well. They find the targets as well. Aru Knight now has got the DBS in his own hands.
OG, hold on.
Nades.
Up against the players of Raven Esports, and Aim God's nade might just be the game winner, but no. Instead, he misses the mark. Aru gets the advantage in the fight already. The man should have just disengaged. He should have just fell back instantly as soon as he caught the first bullet. Aru has been a man who's been on a mission recently, and you cannot face off against him in a one-on-one properly. Raven Esports down to just Aim God. And even Aim God, you cannot underestimate this player at all. Aim God has been proven glorious for this entire lineup time and time in the past. And now as the wall of death moves up as well, Aru needs to give up onto Atanki. The snake's being tossed to perfection. Aru's position is compromised. It's a shotgun battle, and it will be Aru to connect that crucial shot.
But it seems he needs to hit on that first hit right now because in front of him is just the open grounds. Raven's been taken down, but on the other side, Team X-Park still got a lot of their players surviving out in the open too. You've got God's Rain to work around with. That's going to be even more difficult for you. Mogo as well, all the way down south. God's Rain up against the Spy Spray God with a perfect spray down. Will be able to take the life of Venom out of his body.
Spray God's an absolute god in these moments. Team X Park, Sarang, and Spray God in the back lines as Shadow 7 was knocked out a while ago. But then God's Rain, they're also getting shot at from the sidelines. It's Mogo Esports now knocking on the door with the third party. And oh no, for Team X Park, it's an unintentional help that just arrived, but now Mogo Esports, they might just be in the biggest advantage. They might just be looking forward to clinch this win. It's Sarang who spots out one of the players in the open. But keep this thing in mind, Aru is still alive in the backlines, and even he can't be the main spoiler. Mogo Esports is Justin. He's not that in a big of an advantage, but Sarang, prones in the open. Still has a bit of a reach. That's going to help him in the entire fight. But Mogo Esports with the man advantage, and this is where Aru and the opponent in the front, which is going to be Sarang, they need to somehow work in tandem. They need to somehow work together. But instead, Sarang is looking forward to eliminate Aru.
Sarang's position has been noted. That nade definitely did a bit of that chip damage, but Aru, he really wants to just claim that one life as well, right?
Oh, with that burst, Sarang gives his position away. He reveals his spot. And now Justin, he might just find the marker that was needed. A bit of that chip damage is there from the nade, and yeah, eventually even he's dealt with. Aru with the advantage in this fight. His position's known. He's also got a decent bit of reach to play with. I thought he could at least get away with one, but no. Mogo Esports, they came in out of nowhere and directly snatched the victory.
And this time it was Robin leading the team. But what a chicken dinner coming in from their side. I really thought that maybe they made that one mistake by not picking the fight against the members of X-Pac, but it was absolutely fine. They still managed to claim that first spot, and that is what is important for you.
And defending champions proving that they were never going to be the comeback. What a game that was. This was a big setback for some of the teams that were still not able to perform. For Godlike, for Global Esports, still completely lost. Let's move on to the stage for the interview.
भाई एक बात ना मैं साफ कर देना चाहता हूँ कि मम्मी सिखाती हैं कि दिन में ना एक बार सरस्वती जो है वो ज़बान पर ज़रूर बैठती है. दिन की शुरुआत के पहले जस्टिन ने बोला था कि भाई कभी हम पे भी आ जाया करो यार इंटरव्यू लेने के लिए. हो गई पूरी दुआ?
हो गए. मैंने आपको आज बोला था, चिकन भी आ गया.
रॉबिन साहब, आज डेस्ट्रो तो नहीं है यहाँ आपके इस डेस्क पर. आप आईजीएल बने हुए थे, तो ये इसका रीज़न क्या है?
रीज़न कुछ नहीं है, यानी मैं हमारा पहले से डिसाइड था कि मैं खेलूँगा, और तो फिर वही कंटिन्यू किया, और उसको भी थोड़ा ब्रेक डाउन दे दिया, ब्रेक दे दिया उसको. तो वो थोड़ा आगे जब भी वो राउंड में आएगा तो अच्छे से खेला पाएगा, अच्छे डिसीजन लेगा. तो वही था मेन.
ये इतने सारे जो बदलाव आए हैं, जो एडिशंस आए हैं, ठीक है, पावर प्ले, बाउंटी और अब इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर का रूल भी आ गया. ऐसा लग रहा है कि तुम लोग अभी भी अपना जो पुराना स्टाइल था उसी को अपनाए हुए हो. क्या इस रंग में तुम नहीं रंगे हो अभी तक?
नहीं, हम चाहे तो हम रख सकते हैं, बट हम हमारे पहले बेसिक क्लियर कर रहे हैं. बेसिक जो भी हम एकदम पूरा परफेक्ट कर लेंगे, फिर यानी हम थोड़ा चेंजेस वेंजेस करेंगे, क्योंकि मेन हमारी पूरी जो तैयारी है वो पूरी लंबी रेस के लिए. जो प्ले ऑफ होगा, जो फाइनल होगा, उस टाइम उसके लिए हम पहले प्रिपेयर हो जाएंगे. फिर उसके बाद जो भी है इसका फ़ायदा उठाना है, पावर प्ले हुआ, इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर हुआ, तो वो सब दिखेगा कल से. क्या पता कल से दिख जाए.
देखिए, और शुरुआत हो चुकी है, क्योंकि आज के जो 2 मैचेस हुए हैं उसमें दे वर इन द टॉप 2 बैटल पिछले मैच में, और इस बार इन्होंने चिकन डिनर निकाला. जस्ट यू वांट टू हैव द फाइनल वर्ड? पता नहीं इसके बाद कब मुलाकात होगी.
नहीं होगी, वापस होगी. बस सपोर्ट करते रहे हमें.
सुपर बॉयज, बैक टू यू.
Mogo Esports having an incredible day today itself, and as Justin mentioned, yeah, we will be back once again on the interview. That means Justin saying that probably we'll be getting a few more chicken dinners, but also Robin making a statement. Mogo Esports, they might just start switching things up tomorrow itself.
I really want to see if they'd be able to do that or not, right? Because you really need your game faces on, and that's going to be provided to you with the Garniers Men Face Wash. So make sure to check that out as well. But honestly, a much needed chicken dinner for the side of Mogo. They were looking forward to take a big leap into that rankings. I really want to have a look as to how many elimination points they do have, because I don't feel like they've managed to capture a lot of them.
I mean, as you do move on forward with the Phillips one blade move fearlessly moments of the day, right? This is how the day started off. I mean, off the rip, we witnessed Vista Esports' bounty being claimed, and that too by Entity Gaming, who started things off with a disadvantage in that fight, but that one single nade from the side of Equinox just flipped the table in their own favor.
That is indeed true. Again, some of the highlights as to what happened on the map of Erangel itself,
Oh
because
my God.
as this was the situation where I never really thought I'd see those shotgun fights, but Hunters was the man who made sure that I'm not going to fall whatsoever.
Yeah, Team Z, salt on top of the wounds for them, right? Hunter's just panning those two knockdown players. I mean, indeed, he has the right for that as well. The way he secured those two knockouts was quite heroic. And then Mogo Esports today itself, they've just had a really incredible day. The first game to finish things off in the second spot. The second game, they pretty much won the game with a decent amount of points in the back. OG, they were trying to claim the victory, but unfortunately, they ended things on the second note.
Yes, that is true. And you mentioned about some of the bans, right? And Carnival decided we're going to take things even further. We'll make sure to use that machete as well as the knives.
Pull out the machetes, slice and dice the players of one blade, and one blade still just struggling with the inconsistency, and they're not able to find their footing properly. But Beast was ever so close to clutch things out, right? And imagine if this clutch would have came through. This would have been beastly, would have been godly, and it's not the first time Beast would have pulled this clutch off, right? Revenue Esports and Team Z, where Team Z choked up majorly. But unfortunately for Revenue Esports, when they were almost really close to winning that fight, Sensei got third party.
Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate for him. It was God's Train who were out there. I really thought they're also possibly in the prime position to try and claim that chicken, but it was just the circle forming a bit more away from them, more over towards where the entire cavalry was from all the sides of Mogo, as well as on the other side, the teams that they were fighting Orangutan. I really thought maybe we would see some of the chicken dinners. Mogo, though, made the perfect decision in that case.
I mean, absolutely. And right now, just to let you guys know, TVS Raider is our mobility partner. It's not just all about the looks. It's also about some of the features that this bike possesses. It's an absolute incredible bike, especially that Black Panther edition. It's my favorite.
I know it's your favorite. Just do the Wakanda Forever already. I know you're not going to do that either ways. But it's absolutely fine. All fun and games we've been talking about. But one of the few wicked things that happened today was definitely Aquanox, man.
Hands down.
Hands down. Insane finishes, if I'm not wrong, 8 in the first one, and then started off with a couple of them in the next game itself. This man was playing out of his mind.
I mean, Aquanox, as you mentioned, right, at the start, he was also like the main table turner for his own team. And then later on, moving on forward, Aquanox in general was just feeling that groove. And this is what you talk about. But a team that was not able to perform that well was definitely Carpium. First game they were there playing, but Carpium did not really find that proper conversion. The second game, Carpium was not playing, but at least in the overall standing, still Carpium is there in the top 4. Entity still there on the 4th spot. Vista Esports is crowned. Their throne's been snatched away by Raven Esports.
A game that did not help them a lot is definitely the one that's basically helped Raven on the other side, because they constantly acquired a few of the finishes in the power plays with some consistent placement points as well. They've got 23 right now in their hands.
But Raven, they've played one extra game, so keep that thing in mind.
True.
Carpium, they've just played 6 games so far. Entity, they've just played 5 matches. So clearly, Entity, they might just have the advantage.
Even Forever out here, they've only played 5 matches for themselves as well. Though, but look at the amount of gaps. Look at the disparity between the first 4. It's 72, and then it's directly 49. And 49 was the points of 5th place team. It also seems to be the case with Orangutan.
Hold on now, but this is where the real sign of concern starts to rise, because the first half of the board now is starting to gain that lead over the latter half of the board.
True.
Sometimes now, even if you do get a big game in the hand, it might just not be that big of a table turner, because in this league stage itself, your goal has to be to place yourself in that top 4 so you can skip the playoffs and directly move on to the grand finals.
And that's the whole point about it. If you're anywhere all the way down at the bottom, for example, like where Team X-Pac was or Mogo was, you really need a couple of big games now to even make that entry in that top 4 or maybe in the top 5 position, right? Because we saw the disparity, 80 all the way down to 20. That's 60 points.
Knuckle still at the top of most wicked players, but Maxi and Aquanox not that far behind. Knuckle needs to constantly keep on fragging up if he wants that spot in the hand. Before Aiku's soul, days are going worse after worse. I'm not sure what can be done to bring themselves back in the groove, but even AKOP with 16 points, they're not that far behind. Today's day was definitely quite good for Mogo Esports, the defending champions, sort of giving the limelight to themselves and also telling the fans that we have made a comeback.
Absolutely, made a phenomenal comeback as well, and Raven with their consistency made sure that they'll be able to keep everything up in their hands. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all about for today. We'll catch you guys tomorrow for some more BGMS action.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new season of Daily BGMI action. This time with even more competition. This time with even more comedy. With a lot more jaw-dropping moments. And also a few that many would want to forget. And for the first time ever, enjoy BGMI Master Series with Android. Welcome back to the biggest ever BGMI Carnival on national TV.